What is up, everybody? Alright, time for some echo. Oh, God, it's so loud. I don't even know why that was so loud. And then the game crashed. Fantastic. FGO never change. Oh, I see. It's because my volume settings all reset. That's great. Anyway, how everybody doing? So they buffed Queen of Sheba, and they buffed Musashi. I don't know why, but they did. Sheba's buff is so boring. Like, it makes her better, but it is so boring. It's like, what do you think they did? They added a battery. Like, of course they added a battery, but her charisma now gives 2% more attack, so, you know, that'll make a difference. And now she has a 30% battery, which, I will say, it's on a 5-turn cooldown, so that's something. But yeah, it's pretty boring. Yeah, fake grand battery. And then Musashi's buff, they made her first skill last for 3 turns, which is completely ridiculous. And then they added a 1,000 damage cut to it, which on its own isn't like super powerful, but when combined with her invulnerability, in total her survivability is actually pretty good. So yeah, I'm just gonna say it, Musashi's the best single target saber. She probably already was, and here's why, right? First off, so she has damage cut and invulnerability, right? That's really good. Those are 2 survivability skills that just gives her more staying power than most sabers, right? That's really good. You can combine that with Nash's first skill, and she's super tanky. So yeah, tanky saber, so that's good. She removes debuffs. That's niche, but a very, very nice niche to have, right? That's super good. She's got buff removal, and like a lot of units that just have offensive buff removal on their NP are really good, right? Getting rid of the boss's crit buff or attack buff and stuff to make the boss a lot less dangerous. She does that and then removes any other buff. She removes buffs after damage, but she has pierce and vulnerability, so who cares? So yeah, really, really strong utility with the debuff clear and the buff removal on the enemies. She has an upgraded NP, she has a niche to do more damage. She's got a buster up, she's got ridiculous game rates and Stargen now, because she's got hit count up and Stargen up, and they both last 3 turns. It's just, she does everything, right? Good NP gain, insanely good damage, really good utility. I mean, she even has pierce and vulnerability, right? Like, she's got buff removal and pierce and vulnerability, so it's like, you can't really ask for more than that other than, I guess, a fucking battery, but yeah, she's ridiculous. At least, yeah, but for single target, I think she's definitely the best. Funnily enough, though, she's not better than Enkidu. That's not a thing. Like, Enkidu is still way more broken. And here's why. Enkidu, his, 15,000 heal that you can get really easily, is way better than the damage cut. And then when you combine that with his evade, which is a lower cooldown than her invulnerability, his total survivability is just way higher, and then his niche comes up significantly more often than hers. And then when he does have his niche, now he's got stun, which buys him time for evade, which buys him time for heal, which buys him time for evade, which buys him time for more stun. It's just broken, right? It's hard to be that busted. Now, she is really, 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 really good. It's just, the main thing really is just that his niche is so strong that when it pops up, he is just, like, unstoppable. Like, when her niche pops up, it's just like, okay, this is a thing, right? Where, yeah, Enkidu basically is just absolutely broken when his niche comes up. Even though the thing is, her damage really isn't that much higher, though, because Enkidu has the defense down before NP damage, and she's got the NP up before NP damage, but they're both doing huge damage. She does more, but it's not enough to really matter. And, like, this is something people really just never get through their heads when they're trying to, like, compare units. They'll end up comparing things that aren't practical, right? So, for example, let's say you've got 2 Lancers, okay? And one Lancer is capable of, like, carrying people through hard boss fights or farming or whatever it is without needing really good supports. right? So the account could be pretty weak, could be a normie player, right? Or a new account, or a free play, or whatever. And the one Lancer is really good at just getting the job done. You know, just they don't need to be working with Castoria or Scatty or Merlin or Veach or whatever, right? And then the other Lancer does need those things, right? It does need those things, but will win one turn faster. Who gives a shit, right? Like that, it's like they're both gonna win, but then one needs, you know, way more help than the other. But they can, but at the high end, when they're both using the really good supports, they go one turn fast. Like, what the fuck does that matter, right? It's kind of like, oh wow, it's like with Musashi and Enkidu, it's kind of like, oh, they both broke the health bar, but Musashi did 20k more overkill. Okay, right? Like it's not really a relevant thing. Now, there are certain circumstances where it's relevant, but there's way more circumstances where Enkidu stuff is more relevant, right? Like, I don't think there's really much arguing this point. It's not like Musashi's bad. Of course, she's like the best fucking saber, but like when you actually look at the track record of what Enkidu has done, it's ridiculous, right? I remember when Baldy came out and people were saying that Baldy was better than Ku, and they had literally nothing to show for it, and I'm just like, and I look at all the things Ku's done, and I'm just like, this is silly, right? It's kind of the same thing with Enkidu. It's like he has just broken the game so many times and soloed bosses that no one else could even dream of. So he can solo fucking what's her name? Bob, the big one, the really big Sakura clone. What the fuck is her? King Potato Chips. That's the one. He can solo that. Musashi's not soloing that, right? Absolutely not, right? Like not even close, right? There's just so many examples of that. So I don't think it's even. Yeah, Ziggurat though. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, Musashi is just not soloing that. Like, it's just that there's no way. Like, she's not going to live even... I could try it, because I have the stage. You know what? Why not? Maybe she's going to surprise me here. Anyone in chat got a really good Musashi? I've got a friend that has one, but I don't think they're here right now, and then they're not going to have, like, good command codes and stuff. Because we might as well give her a fair shake. She's gonna need definitely the heal command code. Like, no question on that one. Also, Ku can solo this, but it is so much harder for Ku than it is in Enkidu, and you need to get really lucky. And I mean really lucky, so not exactly legit. Wait, does this account not have... Okay, there we go. I mean, this fight really was not made to be soloed by Enkidu. It's still a nightmare. It still does so many things that are horrible. Like, it's just a boss that has divinity. See, that's the point. People are always like, oh, well, this is like, you know, so perfect up Enkidu's alley. And then you realize that's most bosses. It's like, yeah, that's kind of the thing. Because it's not up his alley. It's not an archer, right? She has abnormally high normal card damage. She's got the defense down. She even has anti-healing. She's got so many things that make it annoying for Enkidu, but he beats it anyway, right? She's basically a boss that exists, and that makes it really good for Enkidu. Like, if you want a boss that's up Enkidu's alley, it's going to be someone that's got divinity, is a fucking archer, you know, doesn't have unremovable debuffs, etc., right? That's up Enkidu's alley. Like, this is just a thing. Actually, these days, I would say Ziggurat is... Okay, see, that's really good, but we don't have... I mean, these command codes are fine, but they're not really what I'd want for the fight. We need stall. But I guess we'll just roll with it, because 116 is going to be better than another Musashi with better command codes, so... So fighting Gil? Yeah, pretty much. Although Gil doesn't really have... Like, the dream fight for Enkidu is a boss that's an archer, has divinity, and then has a nasty debuff, but they don't apply it often, right? That's definitely like the perfect, and then I guess has a high hit count. That makes everyone happy, but he doesn't like need that specifically. But that's just gonna make it even better for him. Oh yeah, and give him threat to humanity. I forgot about that. 'Cause that's another thing. I don't think King Protea even has that. Like, this fight is absolutely not designed for Enkidu. Not in the slightest. It's just he's that broken. Like, imagine if this was an archer that had threat to humanity, right? It's just, get out of here. And again, I'm not saying Musashi's bad. I actually think Musashi is probably the best saber in the game right now. Or at least for single target, right? Obviously for AoE it's completely different. But there's no comparing to Enkidu right now. Like, he's ridiculous. I mean, he's not just the best for soloing it. He's also the best in team play and all kinds of other stuff. Like, he makes this fight a joke. And he makes, that's my point. Do you realize how many boss fights I can name that he makes a joke? He solos fucking Yang's challenge quest from New Year's, right? And like, easily, right? It's like, you're not doing that with Musashi, right? And there's just boss after boss after boss like that. It's just, he makes a lot of bosses a joke. And like, it's not just solo, it's in team play. A lot of times he's actually more stupid in team play, because he's really good in buff stacks, and then when he stuns the boss, that buys everyone a turn off their cooldown, right? Like, Musashi's great, but she doesn't do anything busted like that, right? Like, she just doesn't. I mean, being able to stun anything that has divinity, when like divinity is like the most common trait on hard bosses, that is huge, right? That's massive. Actually, not all servants are more busted in team play. Like, not all of them. I mean, I guess no, that's not true. Actually, no, all characters are better in team play because it's weird that a lot of people don't think about this, but you can air quotes solo in a team situation by just being like a last man standing, right? And you can manipulate the team so that people die at the right time and stuff. It's not even that hard to do, especially against AoE bosses, and you use taunts at the end and stuff like that. So even Hercules is technically better in a team because the team can do like half the fight and then he can clean up the other half, right, etc., etc., and it's going to be even better, right? So even the most solo-centric type toolkits are still better in a team. And same for Gramps, because you can just use them as a last man standing. And in the end, they still have the option of working with the team in a more typical way, right? And yeah, a lot of times they'll, like what Beastly's saying, like a lot of, like, yeah, what Beastly, I know this because I use Q so much. What Beastly's saying is so fucking true, and I've seen this. I've done this in really hard boss fights and challenge quests. If you put like Q on the front row, for, you know, first 3 units, he normally will live the entire fight, right? Even if it's a really hard boss and units are gonna die, when you get down to the very end, Q is generally still alive. And then you look throughout the fight, just how many attacks that like he ate. Right, because if the boss never kills him, every time the boss attacks Q, the boss is wasting their attack. By the end of the fight, if they never killed Q, every single time they attacked Q, they basically did an attack, right? And then you realize by the end of it, Q is just like vacuuming up a fuckload of the boss actions, and that's ultimately, you know, pulling away damage from the other teammates and stuff. And that's the same for like a lot of really tanky units. If they're able to just live and then keep doing damage themselves and stuff, it's crazy, right? Now, they're not the same kind of tank that like George is and stuff, because George can like guarantee that another unit is safe on specific turns, and that also is important. But when you're playing like the long game and that kind of thing, it's really good. Yaku's probably the one unit that has like this reputation of being bad in team play and good in solo, but it's just not true. He's insanely good in team play. He'll buy your team loads of survivability. What people just miss is that Ku's got a bunch of just raw value that a lot of other low stars just don't have. He has an upgraded NP. He has an attack up, right? He's got the highest attack stat out of all the 1 to 3 star lancers, etc., etc. He doesn't. People act like he sits there and does nothing while surviving. That's just not the case. He generally does more than the other budget lancers. Thank you for the 32 months, Shiro Blue. That's a name. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, let's see what Musashi can do here. This boss is not AoE. Okay, let me turn my sound down a little bit. I finally fixed my sound problem on LD Player 9, and I couldn't even tell you what the problem was, so, you know. I'm trying to think though, if we want to not include Last Man Standing, I'm trying to think of some units that could potentially do work. I mean, probably her. Not that her can't work in a team, he absolutely can. But if you're not going to count Last Man Standing, right, if you're going to act like that's impossible, I don't know why you would, but if you just arbitrarily wanted to say Last Man Standing doesn't count, Hercules is probably overall more effective solo than in team play, especially because of guts, right? Because like PFA loses no value in team play. It actually oftentimes will gain value, right? Like PFA is going to soak 3 hits, period, right? It doesn't matter if it all happens in 1 turn or 2 turns or 3, it doesn't matter. It's going to soak 3 hits, right? Guts isn't really like that, right? Like there's a lot more RNG with guts in team play. So yeah, that is probably one. Let's see. I don't know. I wouldn't say Panda Lancer's better in a solo because she still offers. She's like, it's going to depend, right? Because especially if the boss is AoE, she's going to be able to now heal herself and other people. That's just generating more value. I mean, that's just objectively more value. And a lot of her utility can actually benefit. Like, there's a lot of situations where her utility is useless for herself. That's just a fact, right? There are just situations where, like, because she can remove enemies' buffs really often, right? But, like, let's say the boss is a class that she's not going to be able to kill anyway. What good does it do her in a solo to remove their buffs when she's just going to die one way or the other, right? Where if she's removing the buffs to help someone else, that's better. Now, it's not universal that she's better in team play, but, like, there's a lot of use for her in team play, especially against AoE bosses or bosses that happen to crit a lot. Now, I'll say this, though, and it's anyone that, like, uses her a lot, I'm sure knows this. Like, Ephra, she needs a taunt, right? If you really want her to be able to be useful in a team play easily and smoothly and not need a bunch of, like, checkboxes to, you know, to be present, she needs a taunt, right? That would help her a lot. That would add so much consistency and that kind of thing. And that's true for a few units out there, to be honest, that really are, you know, designed to have like survivability, and really for her especially, because not only does she have survivability with like the double guts and all this stuff, but she has something that only activates when she's hit, right? So she really needs a taunt. And I don't even think she'd be overpowered if she had a taunt, right? I think it'd be totally fine if they gave her one, so. Okay, so Chin Gong here. What am I gonna do with her? I guess we just wait. We'll do the rainbow chain. There is no way that she can solo this. I'll be impressed if she can survive even close to the point where the shields go down, but I don't think she actually, the thing is, she has more, this is why Enkidu's broken, by the way. She has more survivability than most units. She just does, right? She's got an invincibility, which is one of the best survivability skills you can have, and then she also has damage cut, and it lasts 3 turns, right? Like, she objectively has more survivability than most units. Now, there are other units that have even more than that, but if you compare every unit in the game to Musashi, Musashi is going to have more survivability than the majority of them. She just is, right? So, Fujino's getting invulnerability. Yeah, clearly. That's, you know, that... Because then she'll have guts invulnerability and damage cut. That's needed. By the way, that's why Ku should never, ever, ever get another survivability skill. Ku has guts on a low cooldown, and you can cast it ahead of time, right? Then he has PFA, which in most circumstances is just better than a normal evade. And on a ridiculously low cooldown, which is just silly, right? And he also has a heal. Not a super big heal, but so that is just an absurd amount of survivability. Okay, I'm trying to think. She's gonna NP next turn, but the sooner I invulnerability, the sooner it comes back. The problem is, if I invulnerability right now, I'm gonna waste my damage cut. And then I'm gonna have the invulnerability next turn, and I'm still wasting my damage cut. I guess I could just not use the first skill right now, although that seems wasteful, but I think I need to do that. I need to get my NP, but I'll probably get it from being attacked. So I guess I rainbow and put... Actually, I think I put quick last. I think we're gonna focus completely on Sergeant here, because this should be enough NP gain, and I get a little bit of damage on the side, but then yeah, focus I do think they're gonna buff Ku again though. Actually, this buff really is the reason why I think it's gonna happen. Because she did not need a buff, but she's popular, etc, etc. And they buffed her again. Now, I don't think they're going to necessarily buff Ku soon, but I do think they're going to buff Ku again. It's because he's super popular and his third skill is so vanilla. Like, his third skill is just so vanilla. So even though Ku's insane, I think they're just going to buff it. They're just going to be like, oh yeah, we'll, you know, make that a more rounded skill and then he'll be complete, right? I think that's how they're going to see it, so. And then Fujino, I don't know. I don't know if they would buff Fujino again, but, because I think after giving her an NP buff and all that, she feels pretty complete as is, and yeah, Gil's probably gonna get buffed again. I think everyone saw that one coming, though. I think that's kind of obvious. Baskalore, thank you for the 22 months. We need to use Sheba, and then we'll use Musashi. We'll fight the Holy Grail that we just unlocked with the million HP. It's kind of like Richard, but without the trash mobs and stuff, so that's kind of smooth. And I think he's a bit harder than Richard because he NPs more rapidly. Do I NP here for shits and giggles? It'd be kind of cool to see how much damage you can do before you die. But, like, there's no point. It's not gonna do anything. I guess I focus on Stargin again then. I'm gonna start NP spamming. I should at least do it next turn. And Zert, 1 year. Well, the 21 months actually. So, almost 2 years. Thank you, Zert. I appreciate it. I'm scared to see what they buff. I mean, they're so the road to stuff has been really random and inconsistent. So I mean, they might not. It wouldn't shock if they don't even buff anyone, but they'll probably buff someone. I could see them buffing like Fergus or something. Actually. Buffing one of her skills. That doesn't seem too shocking. Hey Afra, we were just talking about Panda Lancer in depth and how if she had a taunt, she'd be a lot more consistent. Okay, we are so far off from being able to live the amount of turns, I think. We're just gonna try to do some damage now because fuck it. See how low we can get at the HP. Yeah, Charlotte could definitely use a buff. Oh wow, they could have buffed Charlotte during the Lost Belt 5 Road to Lost Belt 7 thing. That's a really silly sentence, but yeah, they could have done that, and they didn't. But yeah, Kojiro though. Well, at least we're not dead yet. I mean, she's gonna live a while here. I tell you, if we had the heal boost and heal command code, she might be able to impress us. How long she could last. Castoria buff. I don't think they would do that. I don't know, everyone's pretty obsessed with Buster these days because of like Siege and Oberon and stuff, so I don't know, maybe they would. Reasonable amount of NP gain there. Actually, you can make this whole thing we're doing right now more disgusting if you sync it up with your third skill, because then you have Stargin up with your hit count up, which is kind of nonsense. So I have to save my third skill or we're going to die next turn. But yeah, more stars means more crits. I'm actually hoping Sable Wars 3 happens, because I think it's a good opportunity for Billy to get an animation update. Also, they'll probably add that other gunslinger, and they might end up being cool. And then this is insane copium. Like, this is not going to happen, but, you know, maybe they give Calamity Jane a costume where she looks normal. But yeah, that one's not gonna happen. Overdrive, yeah. Yeah, she would keep the random gun effects. Honestly, they wouldn't bother to change that for sure. I tell you what though, it is kind of wild. Calamity Jane is so unpopular. She's probably like, as far as I've seen, I haven't like gotten super meta about like looking into it, but for what I've seen, she's the like the least talked about character ever. And I don't think I've ever like seen fan art for her ever. And no one has her on their support list. So like, I'm pretty sure she is one of the absolute least popular characters in the game. Like, because even Blood Axe is like popular for not being popular, where Calamity Jane's not even that, so. Okay, I will give it to Musashi. She has done a lot of damage, and she has lived a long time, and if she had those command codes and stuff, she could probably live a little bit longer here. But, so she absolutely is doing better here than like almost any other Saber would. Although you got like Landling, and shit like that, but, yeah, she's still absolutely not beating this. This is unquestionably a better performance than I think a lot of units would have. But she's actually not that far off from the shields going down. Now, she wouldn't kill it right there, but... I don't really like Calamity Jane's design at all. I like her gameplay, I don't mind the character, but I dislike pretty much everything about the design. It just, way too many colors, there's no coherence to it, it's super random, all the rainbow lasers, and big negative. Her gameplay is really cool, I'll give her that, right? The gameplay is awesome, actually, like, really unique, but, and like the whole like amount of stars changing their buffs and everything, that's great, right? And then she can give other people piercing vulnerability, you know, that's nice, but yeah, she looks ridiculous. Like someone barked colors all over her. Alright, let's do Musashi one more time against a more reasonable stage. And then we'll use Sheba. Let's see, we need interludes here. Oh yeah, I haven't actually done Sheba's buff quest yet. I need to do that. I'm not going to use my Sheba though because mine is like MP1, so that's not going to happen. We need Jolters. Here we go. 23 AP game. Not really necessary. This stage is kind of better than Richard. It depends on what you're doing, but it does slightly less damage than Richard. Like I don't know, 10% less attack or something on the boss, it seems like. Because Richard does like 1,400 damage a lot of the time. So the game hasn't stalled, it's just sitting here. But anyway, the boss NPs a lot more frequently and attacks more. So, yeah, we'll still use both. Like, the game hasn't crashed because you can still click the screen and see the effect, but it's like stuck endlessly loading. Let me just try this again. Yeah, this is all a scam to stall for my AP to regenerate. Yeah, her attack up went up by 2.2%. Or 2.1% or something like that, but I think it's like 2.2. And then she gained the battery, which she needed an upgraded NP, is what she needed. And like add a new effect to it as well. Like that's what she needed. She just needs to do so much more damage on her NP. Because like what most Sheba fans do to like their copium is they just try to muscle it, right? They try to like Grailer and NP5er and all these things, and which is fine, but like when you then they act like she's doing good damage, but then when you compare her to other units that are Grailed and all that kind of stuff, she's like, no, she's really not. Like her damage is just very unimpressive, unfortunately. But yeah, if they could fix that, that'd be nice. But she has no survivability, so it's okay to give her like really good damage. They just haven't. This buff is a step in the right direction, though. If they did like this buff and they gave her a buff to NP as well, I'd say she'd be pretty well off at that point, like for a 4-star. Like yeah, she's still no plot monk or any of that, but. Mine is level 100, NP5, 2k foe, and it's still disappointing. And yeah, I know. It's just less disappointing, right? But yeah, it's rough. Alright, let's get a Musashi in here. We don't necessarily have to use the 116 one. If we could, actually, I prefer to use like an 100 one or you know, whatever, but don't actually have that many friends that have Musashi slotted. I have my own Musashi, but I've never finished what is it? Shimosa, that's the one. I've never finished Shimosa on that account because I don't want to give up the boss fight. And I don't want her other NP animation, so. Well, might have to use the 116 one because it's either that or mine, and mine is really scuffed because she doesn't have her upgraded NP, so. Wait, I missed one? I mean, I obviously see the 116 one, but that's not what I'm wanting to use. Chat doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. Guess she could be in the all slot too. She can't be. Oh, there we go. Okay, but Beastly hasn't done this upgrade yet, which is what we're here to test. And we'd want at least NP2, I feel, but that's the other extreme. I just want like a normal, but properly upgraded Musashi, because that's probably what we're gonna get for Sheba and stuff, so. I have one, gotta give her CCs. Okay, if we see, Sheba first, then we'll just do that while we wait. Sheba's not that popular either, though, so I'm not sure we're gonna find much in the way of that. I also have Sheba, but also NP1. Man, look at all these not DPS casters. They're adding. Oh, there's one. Okay, that's perfect. 100, you know, properly upgraded, but nothing too crazy. But then just NP2. So then I got the skill upgrade. That's perfect. All right, got a decent CE as well. You can yeet your own or the story support one. Does not really make a difference. Well, the CE. Do I have 5 stars off or something? No? There it is. Oh yeah, I've got 2 MLB K-scopes, and then I've got another regular K-scope. Because I've been playing the game for like 6 years. What does she want? She might want default, because I'm worried she's going to die before we get, like, recasts off. The thing is, this buff she just got incentivizes Atlas more than she did before, because her skill is just better. So lowering the cooldown is better. But I think we might need the heal. I'll try Atlas and we'll see what happens. But she might want like the heal boost command code and then default. Those 2 things combined might be good enough. Yeah, Cersei is probably the most budget-friendly DPS caster in the game. Alrighty. I never realized this was the background on this stage. I didn't pay attention last time. You can actually NP right now if we use her first skill. But she'd only do 1 art card. I think we don't. That's interesting though, because with the passive that gives you starting NP and then her batteries, you can NP turn 1. That's good. I mean, that is really nice. You know, I wonder what's more commonly had, Golden Sumo or Poster Girl. Now, it doesn't really matter because Golden Sumo has so many alternatives, but it's kind of interesting because although Poster Girl is, you know, gacha only and limited gacha only, you know, it's very known at this point that it's really, really good. And they've actually brought it back well, I don't know about many times, but they've brought it back. I will say though, in the last few years, anytime they've brought it back in such a scummy way. Like, they'll bring it back when like a bunch of other CEs are rated up with it. So like your odds of getting it are terrible, so you'd have to spend, like you're gonna like whale, you'd have to spend so much money. And I swear they do that on purpose. Like, they've done that several times with some of the busted gacha CEs, where like if you missed it and you're like a newer whale or whatever and you want to catch up, and so you're like willing to muscle it and spend money, right? You'll have to spend so much money. They've done that multiple times with Poster Girl, so yeah, it kind of sucks. I don't think the last time it actually was back was in 2018. I actually think it's been back more recently than that because they've done, but it's just bullshit, right? It's not really rated up. It's like they've done banners where they'll bring back like every single limited CE back on the banner. Like all of them are in the pool. And the thing is, you should count those because that's why they're doing it, right? Is because they're trying to get whales that don't have it to spend thousands and thousands of dollars. Right, that's why they're doing it. And it works, by the way. That's how, dude, I'm not kidding. That's how fucked up some of these, like, E-penis whales are, man. They just can't stand not having all the fancy bells and whistles the other whales have, so they will actually spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for a fucking craft essence. Like, it's crazy, dude. Yeah, that's why they do that nonsense. Okay, I guess we don't first skill because I want to save the battery. It's hard to say if that's actually worth it or not, but we'll see. We'll do the other two, though. Hopefully we get a crit. We can, like, cherry pick the art cards that have the best crit chance. Or rainbow chain, excuse me, because we only have the two, actually. I don't know why I was thinking she's a triple art deck. She's a, you know, Buster art hybrid, but that actually worked out. We won't rainbow. We'll do art because we got 50-60. But yeah, if we didn't get good art crits, we'd probably rainbow there. Well, here's the thing about Poster Girl, it should have never existed. That's the thing. They should have never made it. And I don't think they ever would have if they, like, were thinking about it later on, but it was made so early in the game they had no idea what they were doing. They legitimately thought the taunt was a bad thing. But it's a stupid craft essence. It is, because it makes units like George and Dion pointless. I mean that. Like, if you have Poster Girl, unless you're having like team cost issues, there's really no reason to use George, because you can basically make any unit George and then also a team buffer. That's so much better. Like, I mean, that's so much fucking better. So they can cycle and all that good stuff. Wow, we looped and we don't actually need the battery. That's probably not going to happen again though, because our crit chances are really low. I think we double crit, so that was pretty lucky. Do I rainbow? I think no. I think we try to loop with the battery now that we're not critting. I do like the attack downs here. If we get another lucky crit, I'd actually been mad because then we would have looped without our skill. And you're not going to reliably crit that much, so that would have just been, you know, silly luck. Yeah, she's going to want the heal boost and stuff, and the reason is because of her attack down, she's not taking too much damage, so... Yeah, she definitely wants heal and heal boost. Probably on her art cards, I would think. Okay, our looping might end here unless we get lucky. Sheba, that's the thing about Sheba. Sheba is so much stronger when she does loop because she ramps up the attack down and defense down. The problem is she's just not a unit that can reliably loop. Now, her buff definitely helps. It'll definitely allow her to loop in the short term if she doesn't get crits. But she's pretty reliant on critting at good times in order to loop, and she just doesn't have a toolkit that can really reliably crit all the time. There's just a... You can, right? It's not like the most random thing ever, but because she has a star bomb, right? And you can do command codes. but she's not. There's no world where you're consistently like critting over and over and over and over again, right? It's you know, your runs are going to be like, you know, 30, 70 or something like that when it comes to the crits. So, but it could be worse. I don't think I do the second skill right now. No, she's not doing bad. It's pretty solid performance. I think we Rainbow Chain and then do Quick Last, so we have our best chance possible of critting next turn. But yeah, her performance skyrockets like astronomically if she gets really lucky. It's just the RNG she needs is just not. It's not consistent at all. Like, no, and that's ultimately why I don't really like her. And I like her character, but like I don't like her gameplay because her average luck, her performance is pretty bleh. But then if she gets lucky, that's like, okay, you know, this is getting somewhere. It's still not like godly or anything, but it's pretty solid. So I just wish she had way more consistency in her kit. Now I will say this buff does add some consistency to her, and that is nice. But it's absolutely not enough. What she actually kind of needs to be consistent is stars per turn. That would really help her out. If you wanted to really boost her up, this might be too much, but upgrade her MP, so it does more damage, and then add a new effect to it that makes stars. Like, you can make it Star Bomb like Leonidas, or you can make it stars per turn, right? Which that's probably too much. You probably have to make it more like Leonidas or Luvia. And you probably couldn't make it that many stars, but that would really make her a lot stronger. That would be a huge, because then you only have to crit on that first NP. That'd actually be pretty smooth, right? Because the turn before your first NP, you make as many stars as possible, be it with command codes or whatever else, and then on your first NP turn, you do your Star Bomb. And you want to cast that skill anyway. Right, so you do the Star Bomb and you make stars last turn, so you're most likely to crit, and that's the only turn you're gonna have RNG, or extreme RNG, right? And then you get the Star Bomb from your NP to hopefully keep the crits going, right? That would really help her out. I think I save our. We just gotta hope we live one more turn, and then we use the battery for next turn. I think the battery is worth more than the attack up. We do attack down again, so hopefully we won't die here. She actually might be able to solo this boss in a really good run. Like, she probably needs heal boost and that kind of thing. But yeah, she's gonna have to get really fucking lucky because there's just no world where you're consistently looping your NP. There's no way to do that with her right now. You can do it a little bit more though than you could before. So I mean that is nice, but yeah, she definitely still needs RNG. Yeah, I could see her potentially beating this. The boss just doesn't do that much damage, and with her attack downs, the boss really doesn't do much damage. And then if she did have some command codes to help her live and that kind of thing, it'd be really good. Yeah, she could definitely do it at 120, but honestly, most units will be able to beat this at 120. That's the thing. Like, a boss with this low of an attack stat at 120, almost everyone's gonna beat. Because the thing is, this boss, it actually doesn't even have that low of an attack stat. But the attacks it does, okay, where's that? But the attacks that it does have lower like multipliers because they're AoE. Guadia is like this, by the way. You can see this clear as crystal. Guadia's art card is the only attack of Guadia's that isn't AoE. And it does so much more fucking damage than the other two, and it's because they're AoE and they have like an AoE multiplier, just like an NP, how single target NPs hit harder than AoE ones, right? And like Richard the dragon, right, and this eyeball, it's the same thing, right? They're because their normal attacks are AoE, they just don't do as much damage. And if they're only attacking one person, they're kind of sad, right? Like they don't do too much. So almost anyone at 120 can beat this boss. Other than like Lancers and stuff, obviously. Although Ku probably, well, I don't know. That'll be tough for Ku, to be honest. But yeah, other than Lancers, everyone at 120 I think could beat this stage. It's actually really damning if you can't. 120 is is a huge upgrade, and especially against a boss with that low of an attack stat, right? Like if the boss had like a single target attacks instead of AoE, it actually probably would be hard to solo for 120s at neutral. It probably would. But because it's AoE, I don't think it's tough for anyone really. Other than maybe some like bronzes, I will say, because bronzes at 120 are kind of like everyone else at 100, so they're probably still going to struggle. Yeah, it's just kind of bronze life, unfortunately. But other than bronzes, I think pretty much everyone at 120 will do it. Like, you know, Fergus at 120's got that. Okay, Beasley's done the buff quest. Let's see if Faust's is up, though. Okay, Faust is up. His is in P2, so we'll go with that. This is pretty fair. She probably wants Atlas. I don't have the passives either. Yeah, I don't think I have passives on Musashi. I might have one. Did the game stop? Man, the game is just having a bad time over here. I've definitely noticed that Arknights runs a lot better on emulator than FGO does. And what's messed up is it's the same game engine. Like it's literally FGO and Arknights use the exact same game engine. And Arknights runs better in every way, and it's because it's optimized better than FGO is. So Jekyll at 120 might not be able to do it because he sucks. And there's definitely, I'll say this, there's some 3 stars that are like AoE that won't be able to do it. Now some probably can, like Fergus. I imagine Fergus at 120 could probably do it. Because he's got a great toolkit for that kind of thing. But yeah, 3 stars are still not like that strong of stats in comparison to 5 stars. And if they're AoE and that kind of thing, yeah, there's definitely some 3 stars that will struggle. Ku could probably do it, but I think you'd have to get so lucky. I mean, you'd just have to get so lucky, and you'd have to use Yang CE. But that's the thing is, like, when you're being counterclassed, the value shift. Like, let's say, for example, let's say Fergus solos this at 120, right? So that's at class neutral. And he'd probably struggle, though. He'd probably be kind of close, right? He'd probably have to work for it, right? So if Fergus does it at class neutral, and then a Lancer does it while they're being counterclassed, they're both 1, but the value difference there is massive, right? Like, it's so big. So yeah, that's a whole different thing. Yeah, then Berserkers, it's generally pretty easy because they just kill it really fast. This will be like every archer will be. This is such a joke. They don't even need to be 120. Right, archers are going to beat this super easy. Like the boss just does not do enough damage. Like the boss is going to hit archers for like 500 damage. Right, if they have survivability skills, it won't even do that. Right, it'll just take him so long to kill them. I really hope we find a sandbag boss like this that we can keep that's not AoE. Just a bad coincidence that they're both AoE. But yeah, I really do want a sandbag boss that, has a bit of punch to it, right? Actually, because the problem with these bosses with AoE attacks is if you've got like a heal on your NP or like really good uptime on a defense up or anything like that, the boss just can't kill you, right? Like if you have healing and stuff like that, your healing will outpace the boss's damage so easily. Where if it's a more proper boss, your healing will offset their damage and slow them down, but it's still going to catch up with you, right? You're not going to live forever, right? So yeah, I would like a test boss that is a bit harder. I mean, we got a few ones, I guess, with what was it, the CCC and Imaginary Scramble and stuff, but a lot of them don't have like massive HP pools and stuff. But we do have a few repeatable bosses. And see, you got Kiara, but even Kiara I think has some AoE attacks and doesn't hit that hard. I tell you what though, there is Kama. Kama is better, especially if you give her like a slight upgrade, like the first point upgrade. Her normal card damage is pretty damn high. I don't think she actually has as much health as like some of these other test bosses, but she has enough health. The thing is, that boss though, it's a fun boss, but it's no barometer of anything normal because you get that insane Mystic Code, and some units synergize with that Mystic Code really well, and actually some don't, right? Because even though it's good for them, a normal Mystic Code was so good for them that them losing that, like Atlas, with the cooldown reduction of Atlas, like losing that is like a huge hit. So like they don't gain as much from the new Mystic Code, where some other units wouldn't want to use Atlas or something anyway. So it's pure gain for them.
Right, so it's not the best stage for testing.
But that comma does hit hard, right? Like her normal attacks are pretty impressive. I might do Musashi's first skill right now just to do the damage cut immediately. And we will make stars. It's kind of wasteful. I'm not convinced this is the right play, but we do have a rainbow chain, so it will be good stars.
Hmm.
Yeah, as they add interludes like this, I'm just hoping at some point we get a boss that's got 1,000,000 HP or more, and then is just a normal single attacker, like a servant, right? They make it a servant, they'll naturally be doing single target. Okay, I kind of want to do our invulnerability right now for the star gen. But it is a waste because we're not going to take any damage anyway. Okay, well I know I'm casting this. So here's the thing, we basically aren't going to take any damage because of our damage cut. So you could save the invulnerability for a turn where you don't have it. I guess that's better. Even if we fail to loop, which would suck, but even if we fail to loop, that's probably better. This is not a good start for her though, because although we made an okay amount of stars, it's not enough. Also, I'm gonna like whiff the heal, but oh well. Yeah, this is a kind of rough beginning for her. Yeah, I know, Musashi is normally the one that gets gone. He's on a lot of stages, so she's their fourth unit. Because it's not just Protea, you got Lost Belt 5. Oh, she moved anyway. Alright. I think we crit with the art card. Yeah, if you use her third skill, you'll make over 40 stars right there. So she might actually want, she might want the command codes to be different. She actually might want Star Absorb on her art card, and then maybe heal on the quick card or something. I'm not quite sure what's the best combination for her. That's gonna be kind of hard to figure out. But yeah, I think she actually wants Star Absorb on her art card, because she really wants that crit, and I think she can get it. Yeah, there's that one that gives 150% absorb. So that's a lot more reliability. You might want to try that real quick if you don't mind Fal's putting it up. It'd be cool to see what kind of difference we see with the crits. I mean, we're critting anyway, but it's not about if we crit or not. It's more about like what the percentages are. If we could see if it consistently makes percentage higher. This is perfect timing though. It's like the one turn we don't have our damage cut. And then we have invulnerability, and then we'll have damage cut again next turn. That's super good. Yeah, Mighty Chains are really good for her. She definitely wants to be able to cast that invulnerability though. Like, you want that star generation help you get it. But it's a decision you have to make. Like, if you know you don't need that much survivability, like the fight you'll either win or lose before it would catch up with you, I think you use it, right? And you get that extra charge in. Where if you know the fight is really going to count down to I gotta live for a fuckload of turns, then I think you save it and you gotta get the. Although I guess it depends on how much damage the boss does, because that'll change how effective damage cut is. Okay, he does NP drain, so that's unfortunate. Could do heal boost right now, but I don't think we need to. I kind of want to put quick last, guaranteed to. No, we'll still do this. We do need a lot of NP gain, and that does go up to 40% crit, so I think it's still worth putting the crit. I think we would have looped without critting with that art card, because we get NP from being attacked here and everything. Yeah, we went over by 63%, so I'm pretty confident she would have done it anyway. Shame that the heal just went on cooldown, because now we actually need it. Yeah, damage cuts and heals are disproportionately strong against bosses that don't hit very hard. And the thing is, real bosses in the main story never hit that weak. That's the thing. So it's not exactly legit, right? You get so much more value out of damage cut and heal. Because, like, the boss is basically not hurting us because of our damage cut. However, this is still a good, like, she's showing off, like, how much uptime she has on her damage cut and her hit count up and her looping. Like, it's showing how broken her gameplay is. But yeah, you're not going to live this long against a lot of other bosses out there. And she doesn't have to crit with the quick card. What we should do to show off the Star Absorb is go fight a different boss that hits harder. Even if she can't beat it, it'll just be interesting to see the difference against a boss that actually throws out some damage. So now we can double invulnerability back to back. So yeah, she does have a pretty good amount of survival. And see, against a proper boss though, there will be a Lancer. Now the thing is that this boss does about 1,000 to 1,200 damage when it attacks, and like Richard does do a bit more than that. So like this boss does seem to have less attacks than Richard. But anyway, a proper Lancer boss, like let's say you fought, like remember Assassin Lee, right? Let's say that was Lancer Lee instead in Lost Vault 3. That's gonna obviously hit a lot harder than 1,000 damage even against a saber, right? Now that's not the best example though because Lee hit way harder than most bosses do. Okay, we win, so I can just close it here. But I would say a lot of bosses to their counter class, they'll probably do like maybe 2,000, 2,500-ish damage. I don't know, anywhere between like 1,000, like maybe 800 to 3,000. Like, there's a lot of variance, to be honest, but that's normally the range of what you're going to be looking at, which is obviously more than that, you know, eyeball thing. All right, we could fight Edmund. That's a thing. I think I can't remember which account. One of my accounts has just the Edmund fight, and then one of my accounts has the 7-wave one. That is probably. I wish I had. I think I did it. Yeah, I think this is the 7-wave one. I wish I'd done it the other way around, because I don't need to do the 7-wave one often, and I don't want to have to switch to my ult account all the time. I don't know if I have you added Faust to my ult, so maybe we find something else. That would be a good one, though, because he does have proper damage. Let's see. Alright, no, I'll do it. If I gotta add Faust, I gotta add Faust. Well, cause yeah, I think Edmund's pretty solid for what we're looking for here. Give me 1 second, I gotta boot up the ult. Didn't have it ready. Okay. Yeah, a lot of times if you wanted a caster to live, they either needed to have, like, abnormally high HP, like on a 5-star or something, or they needed, like, you know, Mash's first skill and shit like that. But that's the thing, even when you have a boss that hits abnormally hard, it's always better to be counterclassing them, because when you are comboed with other survivability skills... Oh my god, no! Stop! God damn it, this game, dude. All of the time. That's not long enough to kill the bot. It's got to be playing for a while for it to be a problem. Okay, while the new or old opening plays, I'm gonna go get water real fast. God, the amount of times that has happened, the game's just like, time to play the opening again. So, chat, punishing Grey Raven. not a particularly popular game, right? Not unpopular either, but you know, it's kind of just lukewarm, right, in terms of popularity. You know, it's getting a PC version, like a proper one, and it has an account system, so you can play on phone and PC, and there's no problem. And from what I have heard from like people on Reddit and shit, the port's pretty good, right? They're actually putting effort into it, and it's got like some decent, you know, playability and everything. And I'm like, okay, so why does that get a good PC port when you've got other games like FGO, cough cough, that make way more money, and they just can't be fucking bothered? Like, so how do these other devs find the time and the money to do it? And then companies with more money can't, right? I just don't understand. Like, it's just incompetence, dude. Alright, let's see if we got Faust. Oh, we do. Fantastic. Look how easy that was. I must have been doing something really goofy on this account. I like how it's not loading the other two units. Alright, this is a normal solo. Edmund hits nice and hard though, so there's no worries about my taunt walls living. I wonder if we need to use default. Let's try Atlas, because it's super good for her, but she might not be able to use it here. Like, Edmund might have too much damage for that. There will be an FGO 2. Now, it won't be called FGO 2. And it probably won't be for a long time, but they'll make another big mobile game at some point. The IP is just too big to not to. But they'll probably change the gameplay and all that kind of stuff. And there's so many reasons. They don't want it to be directly compared to FGO, because if it is easily compared to FGO, everyone's going to be like, well, why do I have to get the units again? And they don't want that. They want you to have to roll for all the units all over again. Because even though FGO is not as popular as it used to be, the Fate franchise is still as strong as ever, so. No need for the first skill yet. Yep, if they added, wait, there's no sound. This is really low. There we go. I think the music is on too. How do I do anything? There we go. Alright, that's better. Richard will probably get added sooner rather than later. I mean, it still might be a minute, but he's definitely coming. I think I still skipped the first skill. Do I NP then, though? Yeah, I think it's too much value to pass on. If you're a big Richard fan, I recommend saving up right the fuck now. And even if he takes a while to come out... Okay, how about I put this? It's like... Even if he takes longer than you think to come out, you should still get the SQ ready. And then if you get more SQ than you need, just use that on other characters, right? She does so much damage. Like, she just does so much fucking damage. That is ridiculous. I guess I have invulnerability now because it's pretty short-term stuff going on here. Do the star bomb. I'm gonna do quick last. Like, really sure up that we're gonna crit next turn. She probably wants default here then, because she could do attack up right here. And that'd make the NP do more, and it'd make the quick art do more, and that's pretty big. Hell, she might actually kill right here if we had default, or anniversary blonde, then we could do BBB and the buster up. And the buster up is bigger than the attack up. Yeah, oh Jesus, that's crazy. I mean, she's still a chunk of off. I don't think she would kill right there, but she would have gotten it low enough that she would win next turn. Okay, Edmund, though, does do damage. That wasn't even a buster attack. I wonder... I don't think we're gonna kill here. Do I BBB, though? I think I do. I think we just go for the... No, I think we do one more of these, then we do BBB. Just to be sure. Her new skill makes her first skill last for 3 turns instead of 1. And then she also has a damage cut for those 3 turns. It's only a 1k damage cut, but when you combine that with her invulnerability, that's pretty big. Oh! Not quite. Okay, very close. I should have done BBB there. Would have killed. But yeah, damage cut combined with her invulnerability is just the total survivability there is really good. Because honestly, a lot of units die to Edmund almost immediately, but because she's got invulnerability and the damage cut, she's good. And we could have done another invulnerability if we were going to win. Like, we could have done it for a normal card turn from Edmund if we were going to win before he could NP us. So. Yeah, Atlas didn't matter because the fight ended before we needed any of that. And the invulnerability could have been evade. So default would have been better in every way. So she probably could have won turn or 2 sooner, depending. Which is kind of ridiculous. But yeah, she is pretty fucking busted. Like, I really stand by what I said at the start of the stream. I think she is the best single target saber in the game right now. And she arguably already was. Because even though Akita was a little bit more oomph in terms of, like, damage over the few turns, Akita didn't have buff removal and all that kind of nonsense. And Pearson vulnerability, etc. So there already was, and like debuff clear, right? Like there's so much utility in Musashi's side. But now that Musashi has this, I think Musashi is easily the best single target saber. I don't like. I mean, who the fuck else would it even be? Let me look at these. Like Okita is really strong though. Don't get me wrong. It's no like if you're an Okita fan, you're eating plenty good. Because you don't have to be the best saber in the game to be like really strong and make the game way easier and like murder bosses, right? Like not at all. Like Okita is insane. Okay though, the absolute best sabers, single target. Important distinction, best single target sabers right now. I mean definitely Musashi, then Okita. What else is up there? Honestly, Sitting Master, Yagyu, he's really up there. He is no fucking joke. He's probably the best 4-star one. And he definitely punches above his weight class. And Nero Bride, pretty nuts. She also loops like crazy and does insane damage and ramps her damage up as she goes because of the defense down. And then she's got support, or she can be greedy and give it to herself, right? It's very, very flexible because of that. So Nero Bride also is absolutely among the best of the best. But yeah, those 4 really stand out as being busted as fuck. The twins are not up there, unfortunately. They're good. They are a good saber, right? Like if you're wanting to kill a Lancer boss, they will generally get the job done. But they are not in because like Okita's not as good as Musashi right now, in my opinion, but she's in striking distance of Musashi, right? Like absolutely. The twins are not. Like the twins are not. Like they're not on that level. And then Bride is, now it's hard to quantify because she's kind of a wonky unit, but I would say Bride actually is in striking distance of Musashi. Like, she's kind of nuts. Okay, let's maybe use Sheba here, because Sheba was also getting a free ride because the boss wasn't doing a lot of damage. So I think we were using Zaw's Sheba. I should have Zaw on my ult, but I'm not sure if he's logged in recently. I'm not 100% sure I've got him on my ult. I could check if he's on Discord real quick. I don't think he's normally around this time of day, though. Yeah, he's not online. Didn't think so. Gonna have to get lucky. Let me just make sure he's on my friends list. I don't want to sit here refreshing if I don't even have him. The old Cairo. Man, Rex has really upgraded that, I remember when she was in P1, and like all the cards, Bopod. Oh yeah, Zashi, that's right. I thought Zashi was in A, but I think he mains in A, and he just doesn't play JP much because he hasn't logged in quite some time. Oh shit, oh no, there's Zal. Okay, he just hasn't logged in 6 hours, so gonna be kind of hard to get him here. Yeah, if you look, like everyone else that's popping up right now, well, Manual hasn't logged in 5 hours, so that's a thing. And that one's 8 hours. But most of them have logged in like within an hour. Like at the top, they were almost all an hour or less. No Sheba. Also, no randoms with Sheba either. Jack, can you imagine if you were trying to get Calamity Jane through like the randoms, right? Because now you can use the NPs on randoms, right? So there's like it's not bad to use them. Like there's no drawback. But you're just never gonna find a Calamity Jane through randoms, dude. Like that is a very unlikely outcome, I'll put it that way. You'd probably have to get me. I think I might have her slotted, although I might not have her slotted right now because of, I used to have her slotted, but because of the Gundam, I'm not sure I have her up anymore. I probably should, just because she's so unique, gameplay-wise, with the Pearson vulnerability and all that stuff. But, you know, Billy and Gundams are cool. Oh, there we go. Probably default here. She'll get just obliterated if we don't have the heal. Alright, hold on. I want to check what is in my support slot right now. Okay, so Billy, I knew that one. Gundam, kind of figured. That one's not slotted. David, because that's the budget one. So, I could put her in an all slot. Oh yeah, and Tesla. See, that's hard competition. Wow, how would I do this? I could put maybe David in an all slot. The thing is, no one looks in the all slot though. See, that's the thing. This is really hard to justify. I could cut Gundam just because no one really uses him, but I really like him. I like having him up just to, you know, have him up really. Because he's kind of great. Yeah, I can see why Calamity Jane's not slotted anymore. This is tough. And I could put her in an all slot. I could put Gundam Guy in an all slot. That's not so bad. Okay, hold on. So... Okay. Because, I mean, really, like, Tesla in the Archer slot is more practical anyway, because, no one, you know, he's actually really good for farming and all kinds of stuff, so that makes some sense. Okay, so we'll put Enkidu in this all slot, that's what we'll do. And then, maybe put Romulus over there or something? Okay, hold on, we'll figure this out, one step at a time here. Right, who has guts in this list? Beowulf does. That does make a degree of sense, but we could give him, like, Star Bomb as well. Honestly, that's pretty damn good on, Beowulf. But we could just give him something more typical. Man, I might have to take Beowulf to 100. One of the only reasons I haven't done it is because he doesn't have an animation update. Also, goddammit, Grant. You're banned. You're out of here. Subscription revoked. But, okay, let's see. So then that would mean I could put robot. This doesn't really help. How did this end up not helping? Oh yeah, I guess I'd have to kill a That's the problem. Okay, shit. Yeah, one of the archers would have to go in an all slot here. Dude, I don't see how I can, like, put Calamity Jane up without cutting something that I really don't want to cut. I mean, I guess I could put David in the all slot because people only would use him for, like, budget stuff, but then they wouldn't know to look there. That's the problem. Like, I could make it my motto, but I like my motto being Zeke, so. Like, who the fuck is gonna look in? Seriously, is gonna look at? I wouldn't even remember that I have David in the all slot. Like, if I was summoning it for, like, my ult account to do a video or something, I would forget that. Like, absolutely. There's no winning here. Alright, well, that's about as good as it's gonna get for her, I figure. I only look at all slots when I'm really checking out, like, someone's profile, and I'm not looking for a specific unit, right? Like, I'm like, hey, let's see what Zaw's got slotted, or oh, hey, this guy looks cool, what are his other units, right? And then I actually normally look at the all slot because that's where people put their favorite units a lot of the time. Like, honestly, and I've tested this in the past, when I put Ku in the Lancer slot, he gets summoned way more. And I've ever since they added, by the way, the system where you can summon friends that, like, aren't on your friends list, or supports that aren't on your friends list, right? And still use their NPs. My Ku gets summoned more, and it's because randoms are, like, using him to, like, carry them. But a lot of them aren't going to look on the all slot. So really, if I want to get, like, FP out of them, I really should put them in the Lancer slot. Let's see though. I don't care about FP that much, but what would I do? I mean, I could just put Canis there, but Canis is actually kind of good for farming. But I do have Percival. Can I just put them in both, right? Can I just have Ku in both slots? Because it's nice, I mean, I guess Ku's got the favorite thing, and so I don't really need to put him in the all slot because of that, so. Alright, I guess we'll just switch them around then. Or we could switch Romulus. Because people, I don't think, are going to use Romulus if I've got Percival and stuff. So I think we put, okay, hold on. God, they need to change it so you can move things more freely. Like the way they did it, where you can't have the same unit in each list, just makes it really hard. Okay, so Ku goes here. Not 128 fake fan. Shut the fuck up, dude. I've used 10 rare prisms on FP, and I got one Ku copy. So out of that. And I'm gonna use more as soon as the game lets me. I'm gonna use more than that. Okay, I should probably put Canis in this one. Well, no, I think Percival probably is more, like, used for farming and stuff. So then Romulus needs to go here. Okay, I think I fixed it. You got, you know, Roma leading the charge. I'm okay with this. Okay. We'll switch these because unfortunately Darius is probably not the most sought after unit there. I really do like my my units though. I've been playing this account for so long. I've got like such an army. Like unlike Arc Knights, I've got like such an army over here of units that I like super like. Where Arc Knights, it's a lot of kids. I mean, how is Baldy the thing you? How is that the thing that you focus on, right? Like, how is that the thing you focus on here, right? We have Joan of Arc with Jalter's Bond CE. You've got Caligula with Excalibur, which is NP damage up for sabers only, and he doesn't do NP damage, right? We got Buster Brawler, Phantom of the Opera here, Golden Sumo Merlin, and the real one is Boudica with Rome, right? That's the big one, right? And then we got Baldy with Black Grail. Then you got Atalante with Atalante Alters Bond CE, which doesn't work. And then Nero, who has 1,000,000 gut stacks, which won't work if you have Necromancy on, and she gets the least out of Necromancy because she already had a bunch of guaranteed guts, so that's terrible. And then yeah, I don't think Antoinette needs any explanation here, but yeah, I don't know how Baldy is the one that catches someone's eye out of all this. But yeah, I actually love this support list so much. It's great. I need to put that up on April Fools. Alright, before we go back to Sheba, I do feel like I need to check my assassins here. I like Gramps a lot, but mine is only NP1. I don't like him like so much that I need to slot him, I feel like. I guess there's like, what other assassins are good? Okay, we got, obviously, Sanson. I could slot her for just budget stuff, but I'd do that when someone asks for it. I think it's fine to... I do like having one of my 3 lists, though, being very budgety. I mean, I could do this instead of Shiki. That's fine. Because this one's pretty budgety. You got David, and all that. And I do like Siegfried, but I could always put up Bedivere. Yeah, you know what, well, that's what we'll do. We'll make this list mostly budget stuff. I think that's pretty reasonable. Okay, this is something that people need to request, generally, so I can just put up, like, a regular Chin Gong. What's another... Or Babbage. Well, we'll go with Chen, though. I feel like that's a pretty sought-after thing when you are doing budget stuff. Hard to say what CE, though. This is good, this is good. We'll go with that. Could do Black Grail, but that's not really for when you're doing budgety stuff. Okay, Darius is fine. I like having Edmund up, though, and there's not really an extra class. What's in the other ones? Okay, well, we can switch Jufu around, obviously. And there is MASH. Edmund's more up just because I like him less so than anything practical. Okay, but then I'd have to pick between these, which that kind of sucks. I could try to put her in a different list, but that's been causing problems for me. Oh, here we go. We'll swap her with Billy. That's perfect, because Billy is at least a low star. He is Grailed, but he's a low star, so that'll work. Although I really like having Billy on my main page, though, because, you know, it's Billy. But fuck it. You can't make everything sync up all of the time here. It is nice to just have one page that's all budgety. Because Robin would be another good thing to slot there. Weird that she made... Okay, you know what? We'll put Tesla there. I don't feel bad at all about putting Tesla on the first page. Because, yeah, he's kind of great. But she's probably not gonna get that CE, gotta be honest. And this takes so long to manage now because he don't let you freely move from one to the other. It's kind of a pain in the ass. What can I give him? Got a lot of starting in PCEs, but not a lot for, like, Buster. Shit. You know what? Give him K-Scope. Here you go. No one's gonna complain about that. That's kind of a weird thing to do, but actually, you know what? We'll do that. You know, that's pretty good right there. Yeah, because he can NP and then do the battery. Yeah, I like that. That's totally fine. Okay, Edmund here. Give him K-Scope. I don't know why I didn't do that before. Who gets Golden Sumo? The best craft essence in the game that everybody has, chat. You wouldn't want to have like a favorite unit on your support list that you couldn't give Golden Sumo to, chat. That would just be ridiculous. I'm leaning towards Percival, to be honest, even though it's kind of nice to have the art up for him, just to help loop. There's always Beowulf. I mean, that's fine. Yeah, actually, yeah, Beowulf's pretty great. I'm okay with that. Do that, and then she can go with Golden Carp again. Another really good craft essence you wouldn't want to be without. Okay, and then Jufu gets that as well. Okay, I'm happy with this. This is nice. I wish I could slot something here, but because everything else is pretty budgety on this one, but it'll do. Could slot a higher level George, but people solo enough. Do I have any other? I like regular Canis more than Summer Canis, but yeah, it's fine. Maybe Aussie someday, but he's not ready yet. Could always do Ushi though. That is like super good budget unit. I could put George here and put Ushi here. I'm okay with that. I don't really see people summoning Summer Canis much, to be honest. I mean, she's pretty solid. She gets her NP quick and everything, but I don't think she's that hyped. And yeah, it's nice to have Ushi up just to have a good budget unit there. I know I got really sidetracked from doing that Sheba thing, but gotta get your eggs in order or whatever. Green can't read this. That's a fucking lie, but thank you for the 20 months. Give her the quick one. Wait, that's on Billy. Give her the art one then, I think, because getting NP gain on her is actually pretty nice. Now, I would give them command codes, but it's like, you switch around command codes so often, it's kind of hard to do that, which sucks, but some of the units that you're not going to give command codes to, though, for like a video, you could give like kind of low-key command codes to that you wouldn't like switch off to other units. But I might do that later, but that could actually take quite a while to figure out. I like how Jufu has command codes right now because of that video I made. Alright, these are all fine, I would say. I don't know though, maybe Qingong K-Scope. Some people might want that. The thing is, they'd want a level 1, generally speaking, when they want to do that. It's pretty common. Okay, and then this one looks pretty good. This should probably be... Aren't they quick? Or the art? I'm kind of forgetting. It's been a minute since I've used them. I think they're quick. Oh no, the art. Never mind. Okay, I guess that one's fine. Is there no one to give the quick one to? I mean, I could give it to Calamity Jane, but I kind of like giving her the Star Bomb. I think that's got some usability there. Alright, and then this one... Looking good. Yep, no problem. I could change this one, but it's not bad to have at least one unit with that. Some people do want it. Okay, that took a minute. Now back to business here. I know, having to get coins like that is so obnoxious. Solid opening hand. And 2 cards is good enough, and then you get a rainbow chain, so... Now, if I get a decent hand here, we want to NP. I am Bond 15. Thank you very much. And I'm still not 120. Oh, good hand, although we don't have stars. But fuck it, I think we do it anyway. 20% crit, it could be better. I think we... Nah, I'll do this. No, I should not have done that. It's not... Well, doesn't it last 3 turns, though? Oh god, no, it only lasts 1. Excuse me. Well, that might not have been worth it. We have a 20% chance for greatness here. They said that they want to give us more ways to get coins, but they were very vague about it, so... But yeah, I could see them doing Bond 20 someday. I will be so angry if they do that. Okay, we loop. Feels good. Yeah, that first NP you can loop pretty easily, even if you don't crit, but then after that, you're kind of dead in the water. Okay, 2 attack downs though, that should keep us alive. Although he can clear debuffs. All the damage though. Got the art up, double attack up, it's nice. Alright, not looking bad. We might be able to win this actually. Also, Edmund's hit count is really high, because like some bosses you wouldn't loop right there, but Edmund has a pretty damn high hit count. I wonder if Leonidas can solo this actually due to, I think all of Edmund's attacks, even his Buster has a high hit count. So yeah, Leonidas might actually be able to solo this because of that. So look at that, we were pretty far off. Okay, well we didn't get in on that one, but that's because he quick charged. But if he did attack again, I think we would have looped. Now we are very close to death, and unfortunately because we can't NP here, we're gonna barely do anything. I think Rainbow Chain and focus on Jarjan. Yeah, it's not reasonable to expect people to get Bond 15 on a bunch of units. It's not really reasonable for them to get it even on 1 unit. But, I mean, I think most people are going to have their absolute favorite that they always put in the back row and, you know, work towards Bond 15. And it's nice to have a long-term goal like that, but it shouldn't be necessary by any means. Okay, it is very likely that he's going to kill us here, because now we have defense down. And Edmund can actually, like, Buster crit you and, like, do, like, 15k damage or whatever. So if we don't kill him here, we're probably dead. Unless we get lucky. If we get lucky and he buffs a lot or quick attacks or whatever, we could still live. But we're not gonna reliably survive this next turn. Maybe we're gonna do more damage than I'm thinking, but I doubt. Yeah, nah. Oh, lucky crit! Another one? Give me an there we go. Still not enough, but if we get lucky again and we don't die here, uh-oh. No, we're dead. Okay, well, it's possible. Like, it is winnable. Not even close to, like, Musashi there, right? Like, way off Musashi, but it is at least possible. It is nice getting that, like, guaranteed second NP with the battery. So even if you don't crit, like, that, it's a big boon for her. It's boring. I think it's such a boring buff for her, but it is good. There's no world where a 30... And, like, not only is it good for, like, looping the NP, but it's good for just team play, right? Battle starts, she's got a 20% starting NP passive, 50% starting NP from a regular craft essence, and then uses her 30% battery, boom, NPs, maybe breaks a bar or whatever, right? That's great, right? So I mean, it's a good buff. She's quite good now, but nothing super exceptional, right? She's no sitting master of casters. You know, definitely not. Like, nothing that good. But yeah, it's a step in the right direction, and if they buff her NP, she'll actually be in pretty good shape, I would say. Okay, I think that's everyone that's been buffed, though. You see, I can't do this because I haven't done Shimosa. Boy, I need to play my ult account. Look at how it's really behind on some of these buffs. Gotta do that. Might do that tonight, actually, because if I play the ult account for like Lost Belt 7 or whatever, I'm gonna want that stuff finished. Now, I kind of want to just use one of my units. You know what, chat? You've seen it a million times, but I want to use Ku. So, we're gonna... It's fun to see, you know, upgraded 3 stars, right? It's always nice. I can try Billy, too, actually. Billy's not gonna do super great. Even against Edmund, I don't think he would do that well. Actually, you know what? Let's try Billy first, though, because now I'm kind of curious. Yeah, I've said if I 120 someone after Ku, it's probably Billy. He could use the help. There's just nothing exceptional about his toolkit anymore. Like, it's not terrible, but it's nothing great. Now he's gonna rainbow chain after NPing. So hold on. Nah, the NP you definitely want Star Bomb. That's like tried and true for Billy. I mean, Mori's skill rank up isn't bad for him, but it's not that impactful either. It's kind of just there. But there's no negative to it. It's not like Artoria's. Could do a Star Bomb on an Art card to try to like keep the crits going. But I could just go for straight damage. Damage doesn't sound bad. Do anti-mail and then like a crit one. Let's see, there is a few other ones that would just do straight damage, but, could also do Art Star Absorb. Probably not necessary. We'll just do generic. Keep it simple. Yeah, I know Billy used to be super unique in having such a large battery and being a DPS unit. But that's not really the case anymore. Oh wait, one more thing. Yeah, when you gotta go send out your unit to go solo something, you gotta make sure you give him the right tool for the job. Also, he should have that equipped anyway. Like on this page. Wouldn't want to send Billy out without a proper craft essence now, chat. That would just be embarrassing. So weird seeing Calamity Jane there. Because I don't mind Calamity Jane, but she definitely is no Billy or Tesla there. Probably default, that seems reasonable. Alright, Billy. Your only recent buff is the Rainbow Chain buff, which is a really good buff, but we'll see. He does synergize with it better than most. Jane does have a really awesome skill set, though. It is really fun. And actually pretty useful. Like, really good for, like, that Ibuki boss fight. This song is, what is it? It's a field song from Mabinogi. I don't remember the name off the top of my head. Let's see, let me find it. Avalon Gate, Field Avalon Gate for Mabinogi. Good luck spelling Mabinogi. If you haven't played that game, like if you've never heard of that, like if you know what it is, and it's not a big deal, but if you've like literally never heard anyone say Mabinogi before, you can be like, how the fuck do you spell that? I could NP right now, but that doesn't seem worth.
Okay.
Good hand. Give me a good hand. Come on. Good enough. Probably focus on Stargent. Okay, I really don't like him quick charging, but what are you gonna do? Now, because I wasn't gonna attack up on this turn, but because I have crits with the NP, I think I do. However, I still don't do the crit buff because you only want to do the crit buff when you got the Buster card. That's just so much more damage. Alright, 70 to 80. Come on, Billy. Most famous outlaw, let's go. 90k, I mean... alright, I guess. Alright, that's pretty good. I'll take it. 47 stars, too, so we're guaranteed to crit with the Rainbow Chain. And Edmund already has his NP. I don't know if I actually need to quick draw there because of the Rainbow Chain. Probably. Let's go... Yeah, this is the only card that has a chance not to crit. Pure damage here. But see what I'm saying? It's like the NP is overall better. Because you NP, quick charge, and quick charge. Like his second skill is so big for him, and it doesn't have anything to do with critting. It has to do with NPing, right? Like the NP is ultimately where you end up getting your value, and the NP is also where you get the crits, so... Yeah, we didn't need quick draw there. I could have done it like on after this NP, but yeah, I should have thought of that though because Edmund's hit count is so high, and Edmund had to NP on that turn. So that turn we were guaranteed the most NP gain from the boss we were ever going to get because it's one action the boss can't cast a skill. It must be an attack, and then it has such a high hit count. Please don't one-turn me. Dude, that is so bullshit. Cause like, that could have happened to Sheba way sooner, right? Sheba gambled on a turn where she only had 8,000 life. We had full fucking health, and he just one-clapped us because Edmund could just do that. Yeah, Musashi and Sheba just didn't have a turn where they took that much damage. That never happened to either of them. But I've known that from this stage before, that can happen. That Edmund can just randomly end your existence. His normal card damage is just really high. That sucks. See, we were gonna win, dude. We had that. Yeah, actually, I think he does better there than the 90 Sheba does. I think it's fair being 100 versus 90 because Billy's a 3-star. But they're fairly comparable because Billy's not... no offense to Billy, but, you know, Billy is kind of just average. But yeah, that was more winnable for Billy than it was for Sheba. Like, absolutely. That was significantly worse RNG for Billy, and he had so much more health at that point than Sheba did. So yeah, that was better. Okay. This is not even fair. The difference between Ku and Billy is massive. You know what? I could use my 100 Ku just to be a little bit more reasonable. Let me fix the command codes real quick though. But yeah, I've got a 100 Ku on my ult account. Now he's not 2k foed like Billy is. But he's on the way, very slowly. I don't really play events on my ult account anymore, so it doesn't get 2k foes much. You know what? We'll give him these for now, just so if a random summons him to like get through the main story, he can just hit a trash mob stupid hard. It's actually hilarious seeing Ku like hit like a random trash mob when he has the flat damage and everything. He does a surprising amount of damage like that. Okay. Now, let's see. How good is my ult account Ku? The main thing is, I'm not sure he's 10-10-10. Let's see. I know he is. Okay. What do I got in terms of passives? Probably not much. Although, I rolled for Brutal Mart on my ult just cause, and I did get some Ku copies, I remember. He's at 45. He's got the anti-berserker one. No extra one, unfortunately. Let's see how far along he is with 2K Foe. Yeah, I figured, you know, now that Ku is getting to 120, I'd want a more normal Ku, because loads of people have Ku at 100 or 90, but not a lot of people have him at 120, so... Now, on the other hand, you know, it's kind of like how Ku was back in the day where Grails were rare. I don't mind having my favorite unit upgraded like that, but it's not bad to have like a more regular one to test out. But I would like to get that to 2K Foe at some point. Alright, let's see how a more normie Ku does here. Give him command codes though. Oh yeah, he doesn't have faux pas either. So yeah, he's quite a bit downgraded compared to my Ku. My normal Ku anyway. Do you have Ku at 120? No. Nope. 118, but you know. One day, I literally need one Ku. I'm 15 coins short. And the rare prisms reset in a couple of days. And I'm gonna spend 5 rare prisms on FP. And you know, try again. Yeah, I used all the FP from like 10 rare prisms, and then all the FP from the lottery and all that stuff. I have so many rare prisms though, it's not on my main, it's not a big deal. Do I have anti-mail on this account? I do. Such an easy way to get a bunch of extra damage. My ult is missing a lot of command codes, but it's got a lot of the like basic, you know, raw value ones, so it's not a big deal. He doesn't have an attack up, but healing yourself can be bad because of Ku's first skill. It can be good, but I mean, either way, I just want the 3 stars. Yeah, well, I guess we'll do it. How big of a difference can it really make? This will be interesting to see. I'm gonna put up both Kus here. So not only do you have a 2,000 attack difference, he doesn't have the faux pas. So now the gap won't be quite that big if I actually 2K Foe this Ku. But yeah, it adds up. I mean, that's not like the biggest difference, but it definitely adds up. Alrighty. Wait, that's the wrong Ku. Give myself some FP. I don't feel bad about this. And then we got our boy Proto Ku, who I really should get to 120. Because he is 2K Fo'd. I actually gave most of my... I've got a whole bunch of faux pas on this account, though, that are unused, but I got Gwen's Buster ones up, because that's just awesome. Alright, Qingong's fine, although that gives him crit down, so we'll keep it equal with the other attempts. We don't necessarily need Atlas. I mean, it's actually really hard with Ku now. I kind of want to try default just cause it's... Edmund's weird though because Edmund does so much fucking damage, so maybe we need Atlas just to get PFA up again really quick. But we'll try default. This could be a mistake, but we'll see. I mean, in my experience, ever since Ku's last buff, Ku does prefer default more than Atlas, more times than not, but it's like 60-40. That is a shit opening hand, but what are you gonna do? This is where the starting NP passive is nice, because you don't have to deal with this. Man, we're gonna waste Merlin there. Don't you start with me. Don't you start with me. I see that nonsense. I tried. Alright, we'll do this. We'll save the attack up for when we're low on health. Do the classic QQQ. It is so ridiculous that like Ku can make a bunch of stars now. Basically they made it so if you're capable of doing a quick chain, you're capable of making a lot of stars. And the thing is, that's actually a good decision in my opinion. So I am glad they made that change. This is weird. Okay, see, literally no other unit did Edmund ever do that against. So that's gonna add to the difficulty here. Actually, I think we're dead because of that, because I can't cast evade because PFA is still there. That is so dumb. But literally every unit we've used could have died to that. And I've known this. That's how Edmund is. Edmund can just kill you if you get unlucky out of nowhere. But that was extra unlucky because not only did he, like, I don't even know how to describe how unlucky that was. Like, I'm telling you, if you do this fight over and over and over again, it would take a lot of attempts for that to happen. Because he only got to attack twice because he cast a skill. But he cast the skill as his first action, so he maximized, like, the value out of the attack up. And then he did Buster, right? Like, almost, I mean, seriously, like, none of the other units we've used, other than Billy, I guess, have ever been one-turned, right? Let alone when they have a survivability skill up. Right, Sheba used evade, she was fine. Billy used double evade and he was fine. Musashi did a double invulnerability and she was fine, right? And then we just get one turn. But yeah, that can happen to anyone. The only way you can prevent that from happening is having like a really big defense up or damage cut or something like that. And what's funny is Ku is actually better than most units against what just happened though. Because if this was Billy, like if that what just happened, if I was using Billy right now and Edmund just did that, Billy would have just instantly died on turn 1. Same for Sheba, and actually same for Musashi. It depends on luck a little bit because she has a lot of HP. But yeah, most units would just die there. Where Ku at least didn't die because he had guts, but we're probably screwed because of that. That was fucked. That was funny enough though. We can actually win really soon if we don't die this turn, because now we can attack up another NP. And actually, I think we might even kill him. But yeah, I think we might just die here. Oh, not quite. But okay, we're probably still gonna win then. That actually is saying something, because if this was Sheba or Billy or any of that stuff we've used today, on that turn they would have died. Like they would not have survived the attack up, Pierce invulnerability. I think did double Buster, right? Like most people are absolutely gonna die to that. I wish I could force his AI to do that though, because we could show it off. It'd be kind of fun to go use other units and see if they could actually survive that or not. We can't die here though because he can't cast Pierce invulnerability before he's NP because he must use it. I don't know, we might still lose. It depends. He'll have to cast Pierce invulnerability again for us to lose. Which out of all those other attempts that we did of all those other units, he never cast Pierce invulnerability once. That's kind of messed up. But yeah, if he doesn't cast Pierce invulnerability next turn, we win. And if he does, we lose. Go for pure damage here. Should have swapped the art and quick around. I don't know why I did it that way. But I don't need Sergeant next turn or anything. I was concerned. But Ku still won. How about that? Ku got the worst luck that anyone has ever gotten on this stage, at least today, and he won anyway. How about that? Yeah, it's because of guts. If he didn't have guts, he would have died, but it's nice to have guts as a safety net. But yeah, it's funny, people are always saying, you know, Ku's really bad against, you know, Pierce, but like everyone's bad against Pierce. And Ku's actually less bad against it because he does have guts. Okay, I'm censoring it because I want to keep the stage here. Yeah, I didn't think he was going to win that. That was just the stupidest opening possible. Because it wasn't even the Pierce invulnerability, it was the fact that he got Pierce invulnerability and he got like double Bustered, and then like, because if the boss had done like Buster, Pierce invulnerability, then Buster, he would have lived. He wouldn't have procced Guts there. But it's because he did attack up Pierce invulnerability, then double attack, right? Like it was like the perfect thing. Yeah, Lost Belt 7 is probably in about a month. It's probably going to be at the end of December. I think they already said it was going to be late December. Something like that. They might do it literally on the last day of December. Because he said there weren't any new characters being added this year. And so I think like the banner for Lost Belt 7 will be on the 1st, right, of next year. Like they're being cheeky like that. And the other characters will be, you know, like alternate versions, like a new Santa or whatever. I mean, it's still Road to Lost Belt 7, right? That's what the event is called, but it's the Lost Belt 6, like, phase of it. Okay. Let's use the Big Boy Coup now. Oh, and then we'll probably do Sheba's interlude after that. And then hopefully Big Boy Coup won't get fucking Pierce invulnerability double Bustered on turn 1. Although he has more HP, so he might have been able to prevent Guts from proccing there. I'm not sure though, that is just so much damage if Edmund does that. Like his Buster hits crazy hard, and then his attack up is like a 50% attack up. So he's almost critting you without critting you. That's pretty nasty. Oh yeah, it's fine. We don't have the best command codes. These are obviously not as good as the other coups. But, and I'll switch them. No, I'm lazy. We'll just keep, fuck it. Because 1,000 flat damage is not nearly as much as 20% with how much damage coup does. Also, the flat damage can't crit, and we crit all the time. So I'm actually lowering my damage by a pretty hefty amount here, but I suspect it won't matter. Got a better opening hand this time. Oh, he did it again, but on the wrong turn. You're scaring me, Edmund. I can put quick last. Try to get a lucky crit next turn. Yeah, see, like that 17k would have been quite a bit more if I had a 20% damage up command code. Because the damage from that gets multiplied, where the flat damage does not. 40-50. We could crit here. Well, he guarded the defense down. Although he's got, I guess, the debuff resist, so... Although, isn't that mental debuff resist? No, actually, I think it is just debuff resist. Okay, we did not get instantly... Look how much better this is when we don't just get one clapped like that. Because now we're just gonna, like, super wreck him. I think I can go for full damage here. Oh yeah, no problem. There's a chance that if I did better command codes, we would kill him right here. Especially if they'd landed the defense down. Because we'd have defense down, double attack up, and then the attacks after the NP, especially the extra attack, would have double defense down and then double attack up. Could do a rainbow chain, but I don't think we're going to quite make it, so we'll just go for the big damage next turn. Of course people use Musashi. Musashi is like such a popular character. Yeah, we could have won on that turn. If I had the other command codes, over the several times we used those cards, that'd be more damage. And then I would have done a rainbow chain instead of a quick chain, and yeah, we could have killed him right there. I don't even need the evade from the Mystic Code. Alright, we obviously win here, so we'll cancel it. Alright, let's do Sheba's interlude now, because we haven't actually done it yet. have you been living under a rock? Musashi is like one of the absolute most popular characters in Fate. Like, people don't only care about farming. And also, literally every time you fight a hard boss, it's almost always single target, right? No one's like sitting looking at Fluffy, right, in Lost Belt 6 and like, man, I wish I had an AoE saber right now. Like, people always want to collect both AoE and single target. And even for farming, right? Farming almost always now has single target in it. Like, every time they make a super good farming node, they always make it single target now. I mean, always. They always do that. Yeah, Musashi has always been popular. She's always had like the most fan art. Her banners have always made a lot of money. Like, she's always been popular because who knew people like boobs on weebs that are also really strong gameplay wise are in the main story a lot. Who could ever have predicted that that would be popular? Like, unironically, she is one of the absolute most popular characters in Fate. Now, I don't think she is number one. I'm not even sure what number one is these days. It's probably still Artoria, to be honest. Like, Artoria is pretty damn popular. Especially if you poll the Fate community as a whole and not FGO specifically, right? Because there's a lot of Fate fans that don't play FGO. And Artoria is still popular in FGO, but I think Artoria is like super fucking popular when you don't count FGO. So Artoria is probably still the most popular. But Jolter is really popular, Artoria is really popular, Gilgamesh is really popular. He absolutely is at the top, man. He's really fucking popular. There's several all the way. Morgan's crazy popular, absolutely. But yeah, it's probably still Artoria though. Artoria is probably still number one, but Musashi's definitely up there. Musashi's easily top 10. I mean, no question, she's top 10. Like, she is just crazy popular. All right. Level 40. Yeah, boy, that's going to be exciting. And they give... Is this her old one? Does she have like one you have to do first? Because she doesn't even have a craft essence. That's like old stuff. Like, when the hell do they do that these days? I think it's time to yeet Sheba. Solomon is not that popular at all. Like, not even remotely. Like, he's not like hated, right? But like Solomon is not even like close to like Gilgamesh, Ozzy, like talking about the boys, Edmund, right? Not even, he's not in the ballpark. Like, there's like no fucking fan art of Solomon, like, at all. Like, he's not a hated character. He's certainly more popular than like Calamity Jane or Blood Axe or something, but he's really, in the grand scheme of things, not popular at all. Actually, Guadia is probably more popular, and even Guadia is not that popular. Yeah, Solomon is in like that area where he's not unpopular, right? He's not disliked really. But yeah, he's, I mean, absolutely nothing special in terms of popularity. Like, I don't think he'd even be in the top 100. Now, that's not as unimpressive as it might sound, considering how large the Fate roster is these days, but yeah, he's really not anything special. Like, fucking Lancelot's probably more popular. And Guadia is decently popular, and like even Romani, like Romani's more popular than Solomon, even though technically it's the same person. But even Romani's not that popular. Like, he's decently popular. And yet people don't dislike him, right? And everyone's sad he died and everything. But if you were gonna ask someone, if you sat like the whole player base down and list their top 10 favorite Fate characters, right? So they're allowed to list NPCs. You don't have to be a playable unit. I think you'd almost never see Romani. I mean, there's just so many popular waifus and husbandos and everything. Like Robin Hood, like someone said Robin Hood. Robin Hood is way more popular than Romani. I don't think it's even close. Like, it's like, actually Robin Hood is surprisingly popular. I will say that. Like, I like Robin Hood a lot, so it's not surprising for me, but I've been kind of surprised at how, like, how frequently you see people that grail him and hype him and make fan art and stuff like that. Like, he gets a surprising amount of hype. But he is kind of great. Yeah, oh yeah, of course, Amiya is super popular. Let's see, I need, surely this account has him. Yeah, I don't have, oh, wait. Yeah, this is my main, so I do have Super Scope. I don't need it because I've got his passive, but fuck it. I thought I was still on my ult there, so I was kind of confused. You know what, chat? This stage is going to be so easy. We're just going to herc it. By the way, I actually can get him 10-10-10, but I can't bring myself to use the hero proofs yet until I need it, because he's not bond 10 yet, so... But yeah, I'm on my way. We're getting there. It just took me so long to unlock Hercules. He was the last vanilla 4-star, like, you know, no story lock, no, you know, not limited Gasha, none of that. You know, he was the last regular 4-star that I got, which was just so stupid. I remember when I first started the game, and then I realized you could re-roll. I didn't re-roll for Hercules because I was like, he's, you know, he's not limited. I'll just get him later, surely. And so I didn't worry about that. I didn't worry about like my tutorial summon, you know, being Hercules. I was just worrying about like re-rolling the banner, right? And I was like, you know, no big deal. Surely it won't take that long to get Hercules. And it didn't take that long to get a lot of the other, you know, regular 4-stars. But yeah, Hercules took like 6 years. So, you know, that was great. Also, I actually still haven't gotten him through the Gasha. My main account has never summoned Hercules. I used a 4-star ticket for him because I was like, fuck it. And historically, by the way, that is the only time I have ever used a 4-star ticket on a 4-star that I didn't have. I have always used 4-star tickets to take a 4-star that I liked that was NP1 and take them to NP2 because they feel so much better at NP2, right? That makes a unit feel really complete for like 4 stars and 5 stars. So I've always used it that way. I've always used it that way every time. But yeah, I got so sick of not having Hercules, I was just like, fuck it. You know what's stupid though? So I remember the previous 4-star ticket before the one I picked Herc on. I almost picked Herc, but I'm like, okay, surely I'm gonna get him. And I was like, they'll just do another 4-star ticket, right? Because at that point they had done them somewhat frequently, right? They had done it like, you know, boom, boom, like 2 years in a row. So I was like, I'll just get him on the next one. Right, if I don't get him from the Gasha, I'll get him on the next one. And then that was the last 4-star ticket for an unbelievable amount of time. That was like there was like the great gap where they just stopped doing it and they did 5-star ones instead and stuff. And I was just like, are you fucking kidding me? And I just couldn't, and I never got him off rolling and stuff. So, but yeah, I've yet to actually pull him from a summon. But you know, maybe someday. It's all very stupid. I can't give her a bond. Yeah, I figured this stage is so easy, I can bring stupid stuff like this and it'll be fine. But yeah, I'm going to try to get Hercules at least NP2. So if they do another free 4-star, I'm picking Hercules. Of course David is in this, because, you know, Sheba. That's actually pretty funny. Father-in-law. And actually, Hercules is pretty damn popular. I tell you what, if they ever did full-on, proper, normal, sane Hercules, nothing weird, that would probably be really, really, really popular. We have 0 Herc cards here, fantastic. David is pretty underrated, but he hasn't gotten a lot of screen time and characterization and stuff, so it's not surprising that he's not popular. I know a couple of people that hate Hercules, but it's pretty rare. There's just some people that don't like brute characters, and they don't really see beyond that. But, forgot to taunt. I hate when I do that. I only do that when I'm streaming too. I never do that when I play on my own, but when I'm streaming it's super easy to lose track. But anyway, you know, the thing about Hercules is like some of his like, you know, nobility and stuff kind of shines through with like, you know, how much effort he puts in and like when he's dying and talking to Saber and stuff, right? So you kind of see a peak at like that normal version of him, and so it's kind of hard not to, you know, like him. But some people don't really see that or care about that or pay attention, and they just see him as a brute and they don't like brutes, and they're just like, what? Okay, fuck this game. I fuck this game, dude. That is, I'm so annoyed right now. Like, not only did I not, you know, taunt, but then when I evaded, the enemies didn't even attack. So there was no point in evading. Like, I don't think that was gonna, like, make or break us or anything, but, like, are you fucking kidding me with that? That was just so unsatisfying gameplay-wise. I mean, I don't think you're looking very hard. It is very easy to find Hercules hype on the internet. Like, it is extremely easy. And like, there's a lot of like Omega Grailed Herculeses. Now, some of that's going to be gameplay, but no one's like mad about it, right? Like, no one's like, oh no, I grailed Hercules for gameplay. Like, it pretty much Hercules is actually pretty similar to Ku, where like it's not necessarily their absolute favorite character, but it's very common that he's in like their top, among their top picks, right? It's very, very common. Now, it's more common for Ku, especially ever since Unlimited Blade Works, like the anime. Ku's popularity really skyrocketed after that, because, you know, no one actually read the visual novel. But they're very similar like that, where he's frequently among people's top picks. Not necessarily their absolute top pick, but, you know, among them. So, that's very, very frequent. Yeah, I need about 200k. We're getting there. We are so ahead of the previous run though, because we actually taunted, and then we actually got some cards there, so we killed one of them. Like, we are so much super off on this run. It's not even close. Yeah, I can't wait for my hurt to not be scuffed. I got an old account where he's not scuffed, but yeah, I'm not even going 10 yet, all that. But I'm gonna at least grill him to 100, but I don't know, we'll see what we'll do. But yeah, he'll definitely get grilled to 100. But yeah, we'll see how far we go. I guess we just do the art last, make sure we get the NP. Don't fuck around here. Go ahead and use that. I don't know if they do that much damage, but I could maybe do a rainbow chain here. 46k. Got the attack up. Yeah, let's try it. We don't really need to ever get our NP again, I suspect, but let's see what happens. I mean, it's not up for debate. The most popular Fate Night character is Protea. That is not up for debate. I mean, there's so many metrics that like prove that. And like, here's one of many examples of why she's obviously the most popular character. You got like those magazines, those big like Japanese magazines that will pull people on like favorite, you know, characters. And people are normally heavily influenced by like the new toy effect, right? Oh, most unpopular. Okay, that's probably just Shinji. I don't think that's up for debate either. I mean, that's literally just Shinji. Right, I mean that is easily the most hated character. Like that I mean, who the fuck else would it be? But yeah, back on showing why Artoria is so popular. All those like magazines that will pull people, you know, generally most of the top picks will be you know, recent anime and games and things like that. But like Artoria, Lelouch, I think Guts, and you know, several other ones. They pop up all the time. They're in like the top list even when they're not relevant. And then when there's nothing relevant, it's kind of like a, you know, a downtime. They always go to the top, right? Like they're just they pop up in those lists so much more than just like the flavor of the month characters. Shinji said Chad and CCC. By the way, if we had killed this one, that'd be so nice, because then we could just kill this one and take no damage, but not to be. Yeah, Kursan is probably the least popular of the servants. He's only in Heaven's Field. People just don't really like him that much. He got more hype from FGO than he ever got from Heaven's Field, to be honest. I don't think any of the servants, though, are, like, universally disliked, though. I mean, they all have their fans. Yeah, Kojiro is very popular, absolutely. It's not as popular as, like, Emiyaku, Gilgamesh, Shatoria, right? But, he keeps up. Those are the big ones, though. I mean, it really, Artoria and Gilgamesh are like, Emiya used to be more popular than Gil, but I'm pretty sure Gil has become more popular than Emiya. It's close, though. I don't think it's a blowout either way. But Artoria is definitely the most popular, then it's probably Gil, and then Ku and Emiya are, like, right below them. I mean, there's a lot of reasons to like Gil. I mean, first off, he's just a really fascinating character. Especially when you actually look at, you know, his backstory and whatnot, because they actually followed the Epic of Gilgamesh pretty closely, so it's a pretty interesting backstory. And, you know, he's... how do I put this? Like, women generally like cocky assholes, especially when they can back it up. And then men like power fantasies. So he's both checkboxes, right? And he's handsome by most people's criteria, so a lot of checkboxes here. And then you have the thing where he's like an asshole, but then he's also really, really wise. Like, love him or hate him, he's like abnormally, you know, he knows like humanity way better than most people. He like knows, you know, he's like, he actually can give better advice to most of the cast than almost anyone else, even when people don't like him. And so there's just a lot, like, he has a lot going for him. He's really powerful, he has really interesting abilities, right? And then he's an asshole, which actually makes him popular for a lot of people, but then he can back it up, right? So there's just like a million things that make him popular. So I'm not surprised at all that Gil is so popular. Like, I actually think it's completely logical that he's popular, because he's got the power fantasy thing, he's got the asshole, you know, thing, which is, you know, for some reason popular, and then, you know, he's pretty good looking, I'd say, by most people's criteria, and then he's got a lot of depth to him too. He's not just those, you know, like more superficial things. He has a lot of depth to him, so yeah, it's actually pretty easy to see why he's popular. And he's just gotten more and more popular because, like, a lot of his like more like depth wasn't really known unless you were like a hardcore fan, because Fates Stay Night didn't show it very much. You had to like read the character material books and stuff. But a lot of that like more depth to his character is a lot more mainstream now. It's a lot easier to see that. So yeah, that between that and the animes and everything, and then the games, right? Like CCC showing him when he's like not in a bad mood. Because Face the Night shows him when he's in a bad mood and he's slightly corrupted, right? Where CCC shows him in like a medium mood and he's not corrupted at all, right? Same for like Tactical, right? So all that stuff has made him way more popular. But he was already stupid popular. But yeah, it's I've definitely seen as years have gone on, he's just got more and more popular. Like, absolutely. I think Lost Belt 7 is actually going to be a giant nothing burger, and then there's going to be Lost Belt 7 2, and then that's where everything's going to happen. I really get that feeling. Now, I don't think it'll be as much, like it or hate it, Lost Belt 5 Part 1 is a massive fucking nothing burger. The plot does not advance in any way. All of the characters that they're building up to in Lost Belt 5 aren't even in it. I mean, I guess Wad Demon Canis are in it for like 5 minutes, but I mean, you know, that's it. And there's no Zeus, literally nothing happens. They created a bunch of new stuff you'd never heard of, and then you saw them and then dealt with them all in like an enclosed, you know, standalone story, essentially. And then 5.2 is where the story actually happened. Now, if they do 7.1 and 7.2 and Hell 7.3 or whatever the fuck they're gonna do, I don't think it'll be like that extreme. I think it will reveal some stuff and hint at some stuff and that kind of thing. But if they do a two-parter, the first part is going to be a lot of like made-up nonsense we've never heard of that's just in the way of getting to the stuff that we have heard of, right? Now, maybe they don't do that. You know, maybe it's, you know, one big juicy story, and I would prefer that. I actually hate the whole separating it thing, because I thought I like 5-1 in terms of the cast and everything. But here's the thing: I enjoyed 5-1 less because it was part of Lost Belt 5. 100%. Because it was in the way of the stuff that I was excited for, right? I was looking forward to Wadim and Canis and Zeus and all that stuff, like the whole time. I was looking forward to that so much for like years, right? So then 5-1 comes along and it's just in the way, right? I'm just like, fucking really, right? But if 5-1 was like its own standalone thing, like an Epic of Remnant or an event or whatever, or it came after, you know, I would have liked it a lot. And I still do like it, right? Objectively, when I look at it, I do like the cast and stuff. It's not my favorite though, because the gameplay kind of sucks, and you know, it's kind of rushed, and there's some problems with it. But I do like the cast a lot, right? The cast is really cool. But yeah, ultimately, I really don't like 5-1 because it's just in the way of the part that actually matters, and I don't like that kind of storytelling. It's filler. I like how we fought her, and now we have to use her. We're doing it again. But yeah, I'm worried that Lost Belt 7 got all this hype behind it, and Ort and Daybit and, you know, Kodamine and all this stuff, and we're gonna get there and we don't get any of that, and we get a bunch of other random bullshit we've never heard of, and then 6 months later we get the thing we actually care about. Now, I hope that's not the case. I really hope that's not the case, but I think it's a pretty real possibility that that could happen. The rainbow chain, but this should be fine.
この辺りが頃合いですか。まさかの企画一時。わかりますね。
やられたにゃ。
Even if you prefer 5-1 as a story, I think you can see what I'm saying, and like, because like, holy, like. I don't think you're going to disagree with me here. Even if you really like 5-1, even if it's your favorite story, it doesn't add anything to the overall story, and because of that, it didn't need to be 5-1. It could have been anything. It didn't need to be, you know, 5-1 specifically. It could have been 4-3. It could have been just Lost Belt 4. It could have been an event. It could have been like, there's nothing about it that needs to be that, right? Because it didn't have any synergy with anything else. In the story, and like, even if you like it, it's really easy to see how they just contrived it as like a made-up obstacle to stall. And like here, and this is what I normally say, think about how much better it would have been if we could have had the characters and stuff of 5-1 with the meat of 5-2, right? You can have your cake and eat it too, right? Like, you can have those characters in Olympus instead of Atlantis, and you can have a lot of those interactions and stuff with like Achilles and Chiron and Orion and all. You can have all that stuff happening in Olympus and with Zeus there as well and stuff. And so you could have had your cake and eat it too. There's no need for that kind of filler. That's my point. It's not, some things are mutually exclusive, right? Absolutely. There are times that things are mutually exclusive, but that's not one of them. You can have, not only, like this, in fact, I have to explain this to some people, it blows my mind. Not you, Holy, but like some people just don't understand this. The whole point of a good story is to have good writing, good characters, and a good story, right? Like, there's no need to have just good characters or just a good story. Right, you can have both, and that's actually the goal, for fuck's sakes, right? And it happens all the time. Now, it also doesn't happen all the time. Like, you know, people fail at it all the time as well. But so my point is, it's like, if you're gonna have a story with a good premise and a good cast, how about we actually use that ammo on something meaningful, right? Like, why not, you know, put that in the part of the story that actually fucking matters? Right? Like, we don't need it. There's no reason to separate these. And I would say stories objectively become worse when you're padding them out that way. And so one story has good characters, but no good plot, right? And no connection to the overall plot. And then another story has good plot, but doesn't have good characters, right? Now, obviously that's subjective, but I think a lot of people feel that way about 5-1 and 5-2, right? Where, like, because, for example, people like to say Japan doesn't like 5-2. That's a lie. They normally vote Lost Belt 5-2 in, like, their top 10 when they're asked. Actually, I think it was higher than top 10. They don't like it as much as some of the other Lost Belts and stuff, but, like, Lost Belt 5-2 is liked, It's just not as popular as the other ones. But so I'm sure some people think 5-2 has got really good characters, and actually I do like a lot of the characters. I like Zeus and Wadim. I mean, especially Wadim. Wadim's fucking awesome, and Canis and stuff, right? So I like the cast in 5-2 just fine. But overall, even though maybe some individual characters I like in 5-2 more, I would say 5-1 has a better cast for the most part. You know, Jason and all that. But the story is way better in 5-2 because it actually has one. Where 5-1 is just a contrived, you know, sidetrack that is meaningless, right? And there's just no reason to separate these two. And I get tired of people like Copium trying to defend 5-1's honor because they can't accept criticism. I really dislike this when people are like, because I'm not like this at all, and I think it's important to not be hypocritical here. Like, there are certain things that I like, but then I easily accept criticism of them. Like, for example, I love Ninja Gaiden Black. Great game. Awful story. Awful characters. And like when they made a second playable character, they didn't do a very good job with it, right? And they could have just made that character better, and that would just be a better game. There are a laundry list of valid criticisms of 5-1, and there's no defense for them. There's no I have no reason to defend, you know, Ninja Gaiden Black's faults, especially the playable character one, right? Because you could say it's not aimed at having a good story and stuff, but it'd still be better if it had a good story, right? But and like Bakuno, right? I love Bakuno, but it's not perfect. Right? It doesn't have the best animation, and there's some pacing issues from time to time. You know, there are absolutely flaws in Bakuno, even though I love it. And when I see legitimate criticism of Bakuno, I don't defend it, because I don't need to. Because the good parts of it stand on its own. It's like, if you like 5-1 and you like the characters a lot, and they're not criticizing the characters, there's no point. Like, yeah, it is filler. The story is filler, right? And like they didn't need to make it that way, right? You could have had your cake and eaten it too on that one, right? But there's just a lot of people on the internet when it comes to video games, video game consoles, manga, anime, you name it, where they just, if they like it and it like resonates with them, like for example, maybe it has a terrible plot, but some of the characters really resonate with them, they're not very objective about it. That the fact that those characters resonate with them clouds their judgment in a lot of areas, and they feel like this emotional like knee-jerk when they see someone criticizing it, and they gotta defend my waifu or my whatever it is, right? Which is just silly, right? A lot of it's okay to like something for certain things and still accept that they're not perfect and there's, you know, flaws in it. And for some people, those flaws are gonna be deal breakers, right? Like, for example, let's say something someone really likes. This is not the best comparison, but it is the same principle. Let's say with Ninja Gaiden Black, let's say someone's looking for an action game. They like action games that have multiple characters or multiple weapons or whatever, so it's not as repetitive, right? And then they look at Ninja Gaiden Black and they're like, okay, well, Rachel's doesn't have a lot of depth to her gameplay and she's kind of shit, and a lot of the weapons aren't very good and aren't very fleshed out. And so even though like some of the core weapons are really well fleshed out and the gameplay is really well put together and good boss design and all that, I don't like this. I don't like how, I don't want to use the same weapons over and over, right? It's repetitive. I don't want that. That's a fucking fair criticism of Ninja Gaiden Black, and if someone doesn't like Ninja Gaiden Black for those reasons, I'm like, yeah, no, that's fair. You know, and I could even like recommend other games that are not going to have those faults with them, right? So I just think it's really stupid when someone like brings up that, like, you know, hey, this story is kind of bad because of this, this, and this, or I don't like this thing because of this, this, and this, or whatever, and then people are like, oh, my waifu. It's like, okay, that's meaningless, right? Like this is just silly. And I see that with like Heaven's Feel. That's a big one. A lot of people are just like so Sakura obsessed and everything else, and my coming of age story with Shiro and stuff, that they just turn a blind eye to all the like constant plot device and plot armor moments and like terrible pacing and inconsistent writing and all this nonsense in Heaven's Feel. And when people point that out, instead of being like, oh yeah, you know, those things aren't an issue, but you know, I like it anyway, right? Or I like Sakura anyway, whatever it is. Instead, they try to act like those things aren't faults. And like, I've literally seen, this is not rare, I have seen many people say things like, in Unlimited Blade Works, there's no plot armor. I mean, they think all of the stuff with Shiro is never plot armor. They think it's all legit and totally fine. I see lots of people that will make that argument. I see lots of people in Heaven's Feel that they say there's no plot devices with how the shadow works and all this other nonsense, right? Like, that is not a rare defense. It's actually really common that people want to act like Heaven's Feel is like this perfectly written story that has no faults, right? And it's just because they like it a lot, and like that's fucking stupid, right? Like a lot of the stuff that I really like, I see lots of faults in. Like Elden Ring, for God's sakes, love it to death. I've played it loads. Definitely my favorite game that's released in the last few years. It is flawed as fuck, right? And there are many legitimate reasons why someone might just straight up not want to play Elden Ring. Like, you know what? This game, don't like it. And now, sure, there are some criticisms of Elden Ring that is like game journalist idiocy, where people are literally so stupid they don't even like know what they're doing, and they're complaining about things that aren't real problems, right? Like, I get it. There are absolutely complaints about Elden Ring that are coming from the crybaby morons that don't want to take 5 seconds to understand what the hell they're playing, right? But there also are criticisms of Elden Ring that are legitimate. Some people don't want a story that is really cryptic and, you know, unreliable narrator and all that. Like, some people just don't want that, and that's fine. That's not for everyone. It's not everyone's cup of tea, right? And some people don't want a game that's you know, so unhandholdy. Like, some people don't want that. Some people don't like fantasy, for fuck's sakes. Some people don't like third-person games, right? There are so many reasons to not like Elden Ring. And then, like, for me, you know, I like Elden Ring. The boss design is pretty flawed. There's a lot of cheap. Don't get that shit twisted. There is a lot of cheap bullshit in Elden Ring. It is not all legit, you know, fair difficulty. There is plenty of like unfair nonsense in that game, right? So if someone, you know, articulates some of these like faults of Elden Ring, is like, you know what, I don't like this boss design, there's a lot of cheap stuff here, I'd rather play something else. Even though I like hard games, I'd rather play something else. That's completely fair, right? Because there is a lot of like, you know, 1-frame startup attacks or 2-frame startup attacks and stupid shit like that. Yeah, the input reading, and I mean, God, there is a lot of cheap nonsense in Elden Ring. There absolutely is. It is not a great, in my opinion, I don't think Elden Ring is actually a very good example of like fair difficulty. I don't think it is. I actually think it's a bad example. I enjoy the game in spite of that, but I actually think Elden Ring is kind of a horrible example of like difficulty done fairly and right. I think it's actually, for the most part, done wrong. So yeah, when people get frustrated with that and don't want to put up with that game design, fair enough. And just Fate in general, though, I think has a lot of problems, though, when it comes to, especially Lost Belts. I feel like they have, like, there's been a clear decision from Type Moon to intentionally drag out the story. I think that's really hard to deny when it comes to the Lost Belts, right? And a lot of the stuff they've done to drag it out is not necessary. It's not flushing the world out. A lot of the characters that have meaningful interactions and everything could still happen while not dragging the story out so much. I mean, for God's sakes, we've been in the Lost Belt story for like 5 years. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I mean, that is just fucking stupid. And like the doing things like 5.1 and 5.2 and then 5.5 and all this stupid shit to just drag it out, it's just crap. And like, here's the thing, if you're someone that's like, I don't care about the plot, I just like the characters, that's fine, nothing wrong with that. But then if that's what you care about, why does it need to be main story if you want more of these characters, right? So for example, let's say you really like Orion and Artemis, right? And like that whole story with them in Lost Belt 5.1. Why did that need to be main story? Why would that have been any less good if it was a serious event? Not like some throwaway shitty event, but like a serious, you know, event that they had, you know, proper context and foreshadowing and pacing, like, because they've done that before, right? They, you know, like CCC and stuff, like they've made event stories that are proper stories, right? So why did that need to be main story, right? Like, why can't the devs put in the effort in making a main story that's not actually a main story, but make it like an Epic of Remnant thing or whatever? There's no reason to be padding out the main story with this bullshit, right? If you wanted to, if Time Moon wants an excuse, because if they're like, okay, instead of having all this filler nonsense, we're gonna just, you know, wham, bam, bam, you know, have like 7 stories and that's it. You know, none of this 5.1, 5.2, 5.5, right? We're just gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And, you know, they're as long as they need to be, and that's that. If they did that and they didn't have enough time within those 7 stories, if they didn't have enough time to do like all the characters they wanted and stuff, then go make more stories after Lost Belt 7. Go make more Epic of Remnant stuff, or event stuff that's more serious. There's nothing stopping them from like making a premise and a backdrop and giving a reason to flesh out the characters more, right? So there's absolutely no excuse for all the filler nonsense in Lost Belt 7, right? It's just stupid, right? There's no need for it, and there's nothing about, again, Atlantis specifically that needed to be all this like filler nonsense, you know, some random gatekeeping that they made up to get to Atlantis, or sorry, to get to Olympus, right? There was absolutely no need for that, right? All that story stuff, and honestly, as much as I like 5.2, I think a lot of people would agree with this criticism, that dislike it or like it otherwise. You know, 5.2 was a bit sparse on like some of the characters, right? A lot of like the God Alliance people were already dead, right? Their flashbacks were very shallow. They didn't give a lot of screen time to a lot of the characters, right? It didn't have the, you know, it had, I think it did have a cool cast like Mars and Zeus and all that stuff, but they didn't get as much screen time as I think a lot of people wanted. Right? There was a lot of room for more like story, like in like character interactions, right? There was plenty of room for that, right? There was loads of it, right? So it was kind of sparse, right? So I think you could have easily fused 5.1 and 5.2 to have made a much better story than either one of them individually, right? I think that actually would have been pretty easy to accomplish, because a lot of because most of the like events that compel the plot forward in 5.1 aren't important and could have just been tied to stuff happening in Olympus instead, right? And you could, now 5.2 might need to be a bit longer if you were going to do that, but the combo here, by the way. But yeah, if you're gonna make it longer, that's fine, right? And you could, because you have the time to make it longer if you don't make 5.1, right? And you don't make 5.2, you just make 5, right? Yeah, and see, 5.1 is really sparse in the opposite direction, where it's very sparse on plot and it's very sparse on gameplay, right? So fusing those two would have been, I think, a lot better. Well, time to deck them in the schnoz. I think the reason, though, Odysseus didn't have a fight was they didn't have time to finish his like sprite stuff. Because if you look at the story, it was kind of obvious they had a spot where you could have fought him, and you just don't. It just never goes into a gameplay segment. And I think it's the same reason why Zhu Fu was a giant ghost instead of the sprite we have now. Because the sprite we have now didn't exist back then, and they couldn't be bothered to make it back then. Billion-dollar company, by the way. That's really what does get me, is like they do a lot of stuff in it. They act like, and like the standards of the community, they treat it like it's an indie dev, when it's one of the most profitable games ever. I'm like, what the fuck are we on about, right? Like, it's ridiculous. And you have these other, you know, similar games that end up putting out way more content than FGO does, so it's just silly. Yeah, I don't know why Europa was added. None of it makes any sense. Well, the thing is, and Type Moon has said this. Now, Type Moon kind of put the blame on DW, and it may not have been DW's fault. It might have been Type Moon's fault. But I completely believe what Type Moon said in that interview, where they had a really bad like company structure with DW, and their workflow was garbage. That he essentially said that, and I've been saying that for years before Type Moon confirmed it. There was just, the evidence was everywhere. I could read between the fucking lines, right? The way the game was being handled, the pacing of stuff. It was clear that their workflow was shit. Right, because there was a lot of evidence of like the few people working on some of this stuff being overworked, but then the amount of content being produced was tiny. That's a clear sign of a bad workflow, and then they confirmed that they have a terrible workflow. Marps, thank you for the resub, dude. 49 months. You know, always ranting. What are you gonna do? But anyway, so yeah, they had a bad workflow, and I think that's the reason for a lot of the idiocy. But my point is, though, when you have that much money, you shouldn't have a bad workflow, because you can. If you don't have the management that knows how to structure the company in a way that can produce a good workflow and stuff, you have the money to hire new management. Like there's literally no excuse here, right? Like they have anything that they need. So yeah, there's just no reason for them to have these problems. If they need more artists, they can hire more artists. If they need more management, they can hire more management, right? If they need advisors, they can get advisors. If they need to hire a whole new team to work on a side game mode or on a UI revamp on the side, they can do that. They have more than enough money to do these kinds of things. Yeah, the game has slowed down a lot in like the last 2 or 3 years. It's been very noticeable. I mean, I've brought it up when it started, and I've been mentioning it for a long time. Like, it's fucked up. But yeah, they've been behaving like cheap bastards, and yeah, I'm not a fan of that. Let's do that. I still have hope that it'll get better. I think a lot of people are underestimating just how slow it can be when you are restructuring a company, especially when there's like a buyout and stuff like that. And then even more so when the people in charge are Nasu, who is not a game dev. And I mean, that's actually the real problem. But I'm hoping that Nasu will at least have enough brains to like hire people that will help him. Right? That's the thing. It's like when you know you're out of your depth and you're not a good game dev and you don't know how to deal with the systems and like the hiring and stuff, you hire someone that does. I'm worried though that Nasu's not going to do that because a lot of stuff I've seen from Nasu does not. I don't see a lot of evidence suggest that he has that kind of wisdom to know that he needs to do that. Actually, quite the opposite. I think a lot of times his like ego gets the better of him and he tries to push a lot of stuff in fields that he doesn't understand, like with the translations and all kinds of stuff. So I'm not optimistic about that. Because actually, as shocking as it is, so far Lasagna has actually done worse than DW. Now, that's not high praise for DW because, I mean, they're both doing really bad. But so far, Lasagna has actually done worse than DW, aside from like maybe the advanced quests becoming replayable. And a few UI updates and stuff. But in terms of like content coming out, and animation updates, and all this kind of nonsense, I actually say they're doing worse. And that could just be because Nasu has more power than he did before. And I truly do not think Nasu knows what he's doing. And I've seen so much evidence of that. And if you look at how the Tsukihime remake was handled, garbage. I mean, absolute garbage. You know, not on PC, you know, not translated, all these problems. And you look at interviews, like their explanations for those things are just pathetic. I mean, it's stupid. So yeah, I don't think Nasu, and Taimun in general, has any idea what they're doing when it comes to video game development. Like, not at all. And it's because he's a writer. It's not surprising that he knows nothing about video game development. The issue is, if you don't know anything about video game development, you're supposed to surround yourself with people that do know things about video game development and listen to them. But that does not seem to be happening. The things haven't changed on Twitter. People act like they are, people are freaking out and all this stuff. Nothing has changed on Twitter. People post things, you read things, your timeline's the same. Almost nothing has fucking changed on Twitter. It is almost exactly the same. And also Twitter, as much as they won't want to accept this, it's such a basic website. It's not hard to like change something. There is a massive difference between Twitter and a video game. And like anyone that knows anything about video game development and like web design knows exactly what I'm talking about. These are not comparable. Like these are fundamentally not comparable. They happen to have some things in common, like code and stuff, but that doesn't matter. Like the actual workload of a video game is so much. I'm not kidding. Even though Twitter is like such a big company and everything, the workload for like a major video game is astronomically higher than what it is to run a website, even a website like Twitter and stuff. A lot of the actual money for websites like Twitter and even YouTube and stuff is actually more like tech costs for like servers and automated systems and things like that. It's not really like the design side of things. It's not creating assets. You know, like their basic graphic design stuff is easy. Like the graphic design that YouTube needs to do and Twitter needs to do, compared to like making a bunch of 3D assets for Elden Ring or something, it's not close. It's not even in the ballpark, right? That's like the difference of like someone animating something versus someone tracing a picture, right? It's not. They are so far apart. So yeah, the workflow issues and all that kind of stuff of a video game are simply not comparable to what you're going to see. So yeah, when a company though, like a video game company, is restructuring, it is very difficult and it causes a lot of problems. It's much simpler for a website. It's so different. Now, truly bad management can still cause catastrophe for a website. By the way, we may lose this because Sheba somehow died. I don't even know what happened to cause that, but we have to win next turn or we're kind of fucked. But yeah, ultimately, Twitter hasn't actually changed very much. It's still the same UI. It still has a very similar format. You tweet for the timeline, you scroll, right? Like, it hasn't actually changed very much. So, even though I've been ranting, I have been playing, I think, pretty properly. So, if we lose this, I think it's just bad RNG. I mean, you literally have no mistake. Your options on this stage are atrocious. You barely have any decisions to make here. So I think the reason we lost is just like Sheba got crit, I think on wave 2 and shit like that. Yeah, wow, we're just gonna lose. But, well, no, barely won. We won by 2,000 damage. But yeah, there's not much you can actually do to push value on that one. I think I played it pretty close to correctly. Yeah, I just think that's kind of a poorly made interlude. Because I think there was maybe some really minor stuff I could have done. Could have played a little bit better, but that was mostly RNG. Because I was close to playing that about as well as you could, but maybe on the second wave I could have done a little better. Okay, so that was her new interlude, and she didn't have a CE and any of that stuff. That was a pretty lame interlude, honestly. Like, Jesus. I'll grab these because I don't need any of them right now, but I'm low on them, so it just makes sense. Alright, chat. Time to use a summon ticket and see if we can get Q. Now, what sucks? Normally, I'd be happy to roll story because maybe I could get a Bedivere spook or whatever, but right, as much as I like Bedivere and Asclepius, I don't want to get story locks right now because story locks lower my odds of getting Q. So I'm going to not roll story. What are we going to roll here? I might roll for Castoria. I'm not really. I'd throw a ticket at Castoria, just because I'm never going to use her. But for like buff stacking, if we want to like show off an art unit at their best, I wouldn't hate having it just for that. But I would never use her in any serious capacity. But yeah, we'll see. Really, what I want is a coup here. I would much prefer coup to pop up here than Castoria. Okay, well that's neither of those. Yeah, no, we almost got 1,000. I could actually get 1,000 right now. I haven't done all of the 6.5 free quests. I did like 2 of them yesterday, because I kind of forgot about them. But yeah, I might do that off stream. It's because the UI is like hidden, so I kind of forgot. And actually, did I do all of the 6 free quests? I think I did. I think those are like costumes and stuff. Yeah, that's costume. That's costume. Okay, I haven't done that one. Alright, you know what? That's literally the only free quest I haven't done, and I only got to do it one time. We'll do it one time real quick here. Okay, I don't know. This might be a weird stage with like 2-2-3 or some bullshit, but we could just solo it then. Although I want Herc Bond. I mean, we could solo it with Herc, potentially. Here's what we'll do. We'll do the tried and true, and then if by some, if Edmund stuff doesn't work out, I can just use switch and like use coup or something. Yeah, I don't remember this stage in the slightest, so I don't want to bring an actual. Oh, we'll do Canis. There we go, because she's kind of good for farming and murdering at the same time, like a single target. God damn it, game. So hard to find a 4-star one too. Because I don't level them generally. I mean, I guess there's Art of Death, but it's probably not humanoids. Actually, rolling story oftentimes is better odds. It's crazy how many people just do not see the many statistical advantages to rolling story. Like, so, for example, right now, my main account is in a position where I have most of the stuff that I want in terms of, like, you know, rare units and whatnot. But, like, if you're wanting to get powerful craft essences, rolling on raid ups is bad. Like, don't fool yourself. Like, if you pay attention, almost all rated up craft essences are crap. Like, they're like so outclassed by the generic ones and by the welfare ones, right? It's not even close. Now, there's a few exceptions, but those are exceptions, not the rule. The rule is rated up craft essences are bad, right? And then also rated ups, you can't get things like Better Beer and what have you. That's kind of weird that they put that in a free quest. That's where you'd want like debuff immunity. But boy, we actually have a horrible setup for this then, because I don't have debuff immunity. I don't have any units with anti-debuff, but Edmund can do that. So, but yeah, that's not great. But yeah, anyway, so story is actually one of the best ways to get K-Scope 2030. I almost said it. Canis, Thingamabob, etc., while also having a decent chance of getting Asclepius, what's his name, Bedivere, so on and so forth. So it's actually, it is very likely that at some point in your account's life, for a certain window, rolling story is actually one of the better things that you can do. It's just a lot of people are really bad at noticing that, very much so. Because it has its time and its place. You shouldn't be blindly rolling story all the time. I wonder if I can do 121 with just the crit. This is kind of lame that Scatty took so many cards. I guess we do that then. That'll probably fix that problem. And honestly, she could just NP, but we'll do the old rainbow chain. Yeah, there's a lot of pretty awesome benefits to the story. But there are drawbacks too, so it's a time and a place kind of thing. Right, if you're like wanting to save up for your favorite waifu and wait for them to be rated up or whatever, right? That's not the time to be rolling on story, obviously. So, 3 turn, but incredibly sloppy because I had no idea what the fuck I was, like what the stage was. But like, here's something, this is what I like to do. Now, there is no universal advice in FGO. There just isn't. There are way too many things. There's like, what units do you like, what units do you not like? You know, do you like farming? Do you want to have a healthy mix of being able to do main story stuff and farming? Or do you want to do solo? It's like, and like, do you like this kind of unit? Do you like that kind of unit? Do you want a BART team, Buster team, right? If you get lucky, not get lucky. Do you want to use your free 5-star ticket on a unit you like, or do you want to use it on a unit that's meta, right? All of that stuff has a massive impact on what you should do and win, right? But for like me, what I normally do is when I first get an account going, or like when it was my first account, this is pretty much what I did, is I rolled a little bit to just get a few like good craft essence under my belt, so like some of the front-loaded SQ they give you when you first start playing the game. So if there is a raid up, like right as I make the account, if there is a raid up that has a character that I really like, I'll probably roll on that. And if not, I'm like, you know, that gold is just as good as any other gold, then I'll roll story, because story is the superior way to get really strong craft essences. And getting like a K-scope or a 2030 or something right off the bat, that's huge. It's gonna help your account a fuckload. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll start the account, I'll roll a story a few times, you know, I'll do a few, yeah, Black Grail, etc., etc. But I'll roll story a few times, so just grab a couple of, you know, rare units, grab some 3 stars, because you want those, and you get them in story a lot. And get some random craft essences. And after I've rolled it a few times, or I get lucky and I'm like maybe get good stuff earlier than normal, I might stop rolling sooner. But yeah, early in the account, I'll roll story a bit. But you know, I'm not gonna take my first like 700 SQ and put it into story. But you know, maybe the first 100, maybe even 200, right, into story. But then that's that. And if it was a banner that happened to be rated up, right, that I liked. Because they front load your SQ a lot when you make a new account, right? You get a lot, so, but yeah, I might roll a banner instead. But anyway, so I'll do that, and if I want Caster Q, I might wait until I beat Fuyuki, because that's really easy, so then I could get Fuyuki while I'm doing it. But yeah, after Fuyuki or whatever, you know, early on, I'll roll a bit. And then I normally won't roll for quite a while, and when I roll again is going to depend on all kinds of stuff. So I'll start saving up, and either if a banner comes down that happens to have a unit that I really, really like, especially with my very first account, I might do that. Or until I beat Lost Belt 4 and Asclepius becomes available in story. Because I haven't rolled much, so there's all kinds of reasons to roll still. And if I've been saving up until I beat Lost Belt 4, I've got a good chunk, and I could roll story until I get Asclepius, and while rolling for Asclepius, I might get K-Scope, I might get 2030, I might get a random spoof, you know, all kinds of nice stuff along the way, probably get Bedivere, etc., etc. Lots of positives there. And you'll have enough SQ to do that. And if I get Asclepius there, I'll probably stop rolling story then for a really long time. right? And then I'll just save up again until I see a banner that I like. I'm like, okay, hey, I've saved up to 600 SQ, I like this unit, I'll roll for this unit, right? Shit like that. And then maybe once the account's really established and like, because now I've been playing for a long time, now I've got like almost everything that I want because I've been playing for so fucking long. Hey, Boltless, thank you for the 56 months. Jesus, I missed that, but thank you. But anyway, yeah, after playing for a really long time, then I might go back to rolling story from time to time. Especially with like summon tickets or whatever, right? Because I got so much SQ saved up, I can just use that and I can use the summon tickets on whatever I want. But yeah, I mean, it's a very account-specific thing, right? So if you really want advice on it, you really have to kind of share like what you like, what you don't like, what you have, what you don't have, what you like out of the game. Do you want to farm? Do you want to be meta, not meta? Because like if you use your free 5-star to like you pick waiver, right, and shit like that, that changes like what you might want to roll on in the future, and you don't need meta stuff as much, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of variables. Okay, chat, I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna get dinner. I will probably do a bonus stream today. I'm gonna really try. We'll see though. I'm crazy hungry, so I'm not even thinking straight. So I need to go eat something. But thank you guys for hanging out. We'll either play FGO or Art Nights tomorrow. It's gonna kind of depend on what these games do and what's happening. FGO is a little slow right now, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, thank you guys for hanging out. I will probably be back with a bonus stream later, like Elden Ring or something, or Art Nights or whatever. We'll just play it by ear. But yeah, thank you guys for hanging out, and I will be back.